time. Let me just call this to order. So this is the Manhattan Community Board 2. Could someone hand me a binder so kindly? Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks so much. So this is the Manhattan Community Board 2 September full board meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:38 p.m. We do have a quorum. And I'm Valerie De La Rosa, the chair of Manhattan Community Board 2. And welcome to everyone joining us online here in the room. We will start with attendance. So I will turn it over to our secretary, Emma Smith.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you. We have a few folks joining late, so I am just going to read their names and note that they're joining late. Susanna Aaron is absent with notification. William Benesh. Keen Berger. Carter Booth. Keita Bordenaro. Anita Brandt is absent with notification. Amy Brenna will be joining us late. Rich Cacapolo. Ritu Chatri. Don't see her online yet. Okay. Nina Chen. Valerie De La Rosa. Thank you. Chris Dignas is absent with notification. Arturo Fernandez. Mar Fitzgerald will be joining us late. Stella Fitzgerald is absent with notification. Cormac Flynn. Susan Gammy. David Gruber. Is he in the room yet? Okay. Keep an eye out. JJ Herrera. Thank you. DJ Jane. Juliet Kay is absent with notification. Zachary Kazaz. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley will be joining us late. Patricia Laria. Oh, thank you. Janet Liff.
Here.
Thanks, Janet. Benjamin Listman. Ed Ma is absent with notification. Paul McDade. Thank you. Erica Olson is absent with notification. Brian Pape. Matthew Pereira. Donna Raftery is absent with notification. Lois Rakoff. Bo Riccobono is absent with notification. Brant Rossler. Sean Ryan. Okay. Rocio Sands. Shirley Secunda. Thank you. Edward Siegel. Frederica Siegel.
Here.
Thank you. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith. Chenault Spence will be joining a bit late. Sean Sweeney. I saw him. Okay, I'll keep an eye out. Thank you all. Susan. Thanks, folks. Susan Wittenberg will be joining us late. Anthony Wong is absent with notification. Eugene Yu is not here yet. Okay. Oh, absent at large. Thank you. We do have quorum. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to run the public session. So I will call on people who have signed up. And I see we have some that are here in the room that have just signed in. So let me look at what we have here. 1 second. Speaker's card. All right. So I will call on Chenlin Fang, who is supposedly here in person. Daryl Cochrane is also here in person, and Terry Taff. If I said that correctly, if you could just come stand up. Where's over here at the microphone? So the way that the public session works is you will have 2 minutes to speak. And if there are any questions from board members, I will ask them at that time if they would like to ask you any questions. And we will then call on those on Zoom. After I go through the names, if you have not heard your name and you do wish to speak for 2 minutes during the public session, I'll ask if there's anyone in the room I did not call on. I will also ask if there's anyone online that I did not call on, okay? So 2 minutes. Please introduce yourself and go ahead.
Hello. I'm Terry Taff. I'm from the Adoptive and Foster Family Coalition of New York. We're an adoptive family and foster family support group that has been around for 50 years in the state and in New York City for just about a year. And we provide, and I'm with the program that provides intensive support for families. And so what we do is give education and support and advocacy for people who are raising kids that they did not birth. So people who have taken kids in. If you know anyone who is raising their grandchildren or nieces and nephews, or they've adopted, I've got a brochure for you. So thank you. And I think that's 2 minutes or very close to it.
Terry, thank you so much. If we could leave, if you could pass those around, you can leave them up here. And thank you for taking the time to come out and talk about your organization. We really appreciate it. So next I had called on Chenlin Feng. So you could come up here. Did I say that correctly? Okay, great. Welcome. So 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chenlin Feng, and I'm the owner of Doviana. We're a small business in Soho. I'm here to respectfully oppose any further permits for event like the Denim Tears block party that was held on July 26, 2025. On that day, the event that blocked pedestrian access along the sidewalk, cutting off customers' flow and the visibility to our store. And then the noise level was pretty much over 85 decibel at all time over there. And the event continued until 10 p.m., which is not, only disrupt the business surround our store, but also nearby resident living upstairs. Our store has suffered a significant loss of revenue on that day, which is on a Saturday. And this was not the first time such an event was held by them. And they had a product launch before, which has caused very headache too, near that area. While we value culture and artistic contribution around the community, they should not come at expenses of local business ability to operate normal or resident the right to quiet enjoyment of their homes. For these reasons, I urge the community board to deny further permits for the Denim Tears or such similar event that blocks sidewalk, create unsafe conditions, and cause excessive noise in our community. Thank you very much and for your time and consideration.
Okay, I'm seeing a couple hands from board members, so I'm going to call on Will Benesh first, and then I'll call on Dr. Shirley Smith. So we could get Will a microphone. There's plenty of them up here, so maybe we keep one on one side and one on the other, maybe? Maybe?
Hello. Hey, so thanks so much for coming in. I'm Will Benish. I'm the chair of the Street Activities Committee. So just to let you know, we oppose this event in the strongest possible terms, if you go back and look at our resolutions. Okay. So we kind of saw it coming. So I think what would be helpful is if you could send in to us, in writing, all the issues that you saw, and if other neighbors and business owners, please
Sean.
send those in so we have them for our written records. That's always super helpful anytime something else comes up from the same group.
I just have one question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is my first time doing this. I don't know what's the process of this, obviously. If you guys denied it over here, then they send it their permit applied to the mayor's office.
It goes to
What's the point
SAPO.
of doing this over here? They can just send it to over there and they get a granted. And then what's the point of doing this then?
So sometimes we are effective in getting events changed or stopped. Sure. In this case, I can talk to you about it offline. There were a lot of other factors that went into it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will. And then Dr. Smith, and then we'll go to Sean Sweeney had his hand up.
I didn't catch the name of the person that you were talking about. You're making the complaint about. What is the name of the organization?
The store name is called Denim Tears. They're
Okay.
one of the street brand. Not recently, but last year they moved it to our next store, which is our neighbor store. It used to be Stussy, which is another very well-known brand. Yeah.
Okay.
They moved, but they came in and then they did three product launch over this, and then it was every time was just super very very disruptive. I have videos, pictures. It's just insane. We couldn't even operate normal business. The whole day, we lost revenue. Just couldn't do anything. Both sidewalks blocked. Okay. Nobody can walk. Like when I walk there, I have to ask permission. Hey, I work in the store there. Can I go there? They're, who are you? So it's like, it's pretty insane. Like people cannot even walk. I have customers that, appointments. They come in and say, hey, can I go to the store? So they have to ask permission for their own hired security to, they have like the metal gates there just blocking everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then Sean, you had a question?
174 Spring Street. Yes, yes. This is July 26th on a Saturday.
The rain.
Yes.
Yeah, that was bad news coming.
Right.
Last
Friday on Howard between Crosby, between Mercer and Broadway, 500 people came. 500 people until midnight with loud music, cooking hamburgers.
Do you have any additional questions for?
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah, that was that, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, if we could refrain from calling out. Thank you. Thank you so much. No other questions
Appreciate
or
it.
questions from board members online? Thank you. All right, so next, Daryl Cochrane, yes. And then online, if we can promote Mark Rossetti, and excuse me, we can call on, if we can promote online Mark Rossetti and Rebecca Carter. Go ahead,
Great.
2 minutes. Hi.
Thanks so much. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
My name's Daryl Cochran. I am the director of the Manhattan Community Service Center with the New York City Commission on Human Rights. I just
Hey,
want to come.
I'm so sorry. I cannot hear. If you do want to have a conversation, if you could take it out, I would really appreciate it. We can't hear in the room. We can't hear on Zoom. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm with the New York City Commission on Human Rights. But if I could just take a point of personal privilege, I was sitting there and I realized, I think it was 25 years ago today, or this meeting, that I first spoke with CB2 when I worked for an elected official. And I see some familiar faces here, so that's very good. And I think some of you may not have been born then too, but that's another story. But I just want to tell you briefly about the Commission on Human Rights. We are a small city agency. We're about 110, 115 people. We're the agency that protects against discrimination. There are over 25 protected classes, including race, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, age, disability, et cetera. We function in the areas of housing or employment. Those are our two biggest areas. So if a landlord or if an employer discriminates against someone. Also, we function in areas of public accommodation, so any store, restaurant, any place where you find yourself a customer, as well as two smaller areas known as discriminatory harassment, which is basically a civil form of hate crime, as well as bias-based profiling by law enforcement, so if NYPD discriminates. And we work with community boards frequently, especially in areas if there's blocking sidewalk access, bikes or outdoor dining blocking, we can help in those areas. If there's bias incidents or graffiti in a neighborhood, we're happy to come and work with other agencies to remove that. To get a hold of us, you can just visit our website, nyc.gov/human rights. You can call us 212-416-0197, or you can walk into our Manhattan location at 22 Reed Street, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4. All right, thanks so much. Bye.
Okay, so we have a question. If we could get a microphone to Rocio, if we could get a microphone to Rocio, then she can ask her question and we can continue with the business of the board. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for coming today
see
and
you.
speaking about this very important subject. I do have one point to make. I don't know if you're aware that there are many lawyers that go around filing frivolous lawsuits against establishments and just to grab money from the owners of the buildings, the owners of the stores, and actually can put people out of business with frivolous lawsuits.
Yeah, we certainly know that does happen, and it's unfortunate. Our agency, one of the services that we do provide, we have a specific unit called Project Equal Access, and they specifically work with folks in the disability community. And they will also go out to businesses or residents to see if any sort of modification to allow, like wheelchair access, for instance, is feasible. And that is a free service that we provide. So I know folks are trying to shake down businesses for that, but we will provide that service for free just to see if it's feasible. It's not always feasible, and we get that, but people should not be doing that.
And it's very expensive sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Daryl, hi, thanks so much for taking the time and welcome back to CB2. May I get some clarification about how your agency works with the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities?
Sure, yeah, the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities, they provide services for the community. What we do is we function just in the area of discrimination. So if someone's being discriminated against based on any sort of disability, be it physical or mental, then they can come to us with that, yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other questions from board members in the room or online? I can't see who's online, okay, thank you. Thanks for taking the time. So next we have Mark Rose. Okay, so before we get to the rest of our public session, I'm actually going to turn it over to Assemblymember Deborah Glick, who's joined us. Assemblymember Glick, are you on?
I think we finally got it unmuted.
Okay.
Have we gotten it unmuted?
Could we maybe spotlight? I can hear you. Maybe could we spotlight the assembly member so we can see? Okay, Assemblymember Glick, do you have your camera turned on? We can't see you, but we can hear you.
I have everything on, as far as I can tell. Maybe it's just not working on the stream. I don't know, is this working? You can see me, but you can't hear me. Well, we do have a report. Okay, is the sound working?
It's great. Please continue, Assemblymember Glick.
I am really sorry, doing this on the street, and it's a beautiful night, so it's a mess. We do have a report for everybody, which includes the lottery that's finally open for the senior affordable housing, which is great. Eric and I met with the 6th Precinct Commander and the Q team. One of the things they said is anonymous calls are really problematic because they can't actually double check that they have effectively dealt with the issue. So maybe we can get the word out to the public. I know people want to be anonymous, but it's not helpful to resolving the issue. I also want to point out that with all of the problems that we're having, we're pushing this year our compulsory voting bill that really requires people to register and requires them to vote in terms of they don't have to cast a valid ballot, but it is the Australian model, which has brought their voting close to 100%. And we're working with 100%democracy.com to affect this. Obviously, we have a lot of environmental bills we'll be working on, and we're using the off session in order to get those problems resolved with some of the bills where people had some questions, concerns. With that, since it's an incredibly noisy street, maybe they all are tonight, I will simply say that for those for whom it's appropriate, Shana Tova, and I hope to see you in person next month. Thank you very much.
Member Glick, are there any questions from board members for Assemblymember Glick, either here in the room or on Zoom? If you could raise your hand. Okay, see, if we could get Katie a microphone. Katie Bordenaro has a question.
Hi, Deborah. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, so good to see you, or your ear, or whatever we're seeing. Since you started talking about the new session, I just want to underscore the importance of the legislation that you're co-sponsoring with Brian Kavanaugh to improve SCRI and DRI. And we really need the assembly, the Senate went through and did a lot to improve SCRI and DRI, but we need your help to see how we can get the assembly on the case this term. Do you have any reflections tonight?
Well, I do have it on my list to reach out to the chair, Rebecca Seawright from the Upper East Side. My understanding is that there was some concern raised by the city. I'm quite certain that the new administration will not raise the same concern, so I'm very optimistic.
Great. Thank you, Deborah.
Great. Any other questions from board members in the room or on Zoom? I cannot see the raised hands on Zoom, so if someone could be so kind as to identify if there's anyone with their hands raised on Zoom. I'm not seeing any. Okay, thank you, Assemblymember Glick. We appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank
taking
you,
the
and
time.
everybody continue to enjoy the warm weather, but let's all pray for some rain. Thanks.
Thanks. Great. So next, we're going to continue the public session. So if we could promote Mark Rossetti on Zoom. Okay, so I'm not sure how he's going to testify during the public session if he does not wish to speak. And then we will move on. Next, it will go to Rebecca Carter.
Oh, hello? Hello?
Okay.
Hi. Good
Is
evening.
this Mark Rossetti?
Yes.
Could you identify yourself?
Yes, good evening. My name is Mark Rossetti. I'm a resident engineer. Is my camera? It's on. I don't seem to be able to. I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Anyway.
We cannot, but if you could continue.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Mark Rossetti. I'm a professional engineer representing the New York City Department of Design and Construction. We're going to be working within Community Board 2. We're going to be doing pedestrian ramp upgrades. You'll see us. We'll be the ones with all the orange cones and taking up parking space. Please be on the lookout for our advisories from our community construction liaison, Dana Benestucci. She'll be posting them, letting everyone know if there's any parking disruptions. Also, there will be minimal water main work going on throughout our project, so there will be some disruptions of water service to very select areas, but just be on the lookout for those. We don't want anyone caught off guard with that as well. At the end of our project is about approximately 2 years in length. So you'll see us here moving throughout the community to do signal upgrades for pedestrian signals as well as lighting system upgrades. And I think kind of sums it up.
I see a question from Zachary Kazaz. Can we get Zachary a... Okay. Okay, Mark, I'm hearing in the room that everyone in here had a hard time following what you were saying. So would it be possible maybe to write in to the office with your comments so we can ensure that they're just saying they had a hard, just hearing board members in the room had issues hearing? Is that your testimony? So I'm not certain.
I'll prepare a written statement and send it into the community board office.
Okay. I mean, I could hear it, but thank you. Okay, so I'm assuming if people couldn't hear, then maybe they don't have questions for Mr. Rossetti. Is there anyone with questions on Zoom from board members? Do we have any hands? Okay, thank you so much, Mark. Next, I'm going to go to Rebecca Carter on Zoom.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
2 minutes. Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. So my name is Rebecca Carter. I'm a community engagement intern for the New York County Defender Services. We are a Manhattan-based public defense office, and we're interested in working with community boards to provide trainings or presentations on topics that they think would help to improve people living in your district's knowledge of the law. So we did a really successful training for CB11 about the How Many Stops Act and how to interact with a police officer if you are approached on the street by an officer who's asking questions, really trying to help community members just think through their rights, make sure that they understand their rights, and they understand the best practices for interacting with law enforcement. So we did a presentation on that, but we'd also be happy to present on other topics if you think it would be more impactful and helpful for those living in your district. And we'd be happy to email and work with you to figure out what an interesting and relevant topic for your community could be. So I'd be happy to take any questions. We worked with the John Jay Center Collaborative of Justice, as well as an attorney from our office to do this presentation, and we'd be happy to bring them back to your community board if that's something you're interested in.
Great. Do we have any questions from board members in the room for Rebecca? If we could get a mic to Keen. And then if there's any board members on Zoom that have a question.
Are you the people who can tell us how to tell ICE to take off their masks, or is that not your job?
We could provide advice on the best ways to ask for that, but of course, we can't control their reaction. And that's part of what we talked about with CB11, is that a lot of this may not immediately prevent someone from being detained, but it can help to have said certain things that later on are able to allow your lawyer to protect your rights and argue more effective for you in court. So unfortunately, a lot of the times someone follows all the exact correct things and still is detained. But if they have some background knowledge on the best things to say during that process, we're able to then we're better equipped to make arguments that will hopefully get them released.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions on Zoom from board members? Okay, thanks so much, Rebecca. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Great. If I didn't call out your name, either here in the room or on Zoom, and you wish to testify during the public session, please raise your hand now, and I will call on you to come up or to be promoted on Zoom. I don't see any hands raised in the room, and I don't see any hands on Zoom. I do see one person on Zoom. So could we promote Lysander Rosario? Okay, got it. So with an elected official's office. So I'm going to close the public session. Great. Now, if we could, before we get to the elected official reports, if there's no principals here from elected offices, I'm going to continue with the agenda. So if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? A second? Great. So the agenda is adopted. And now we're going to move on to reports to the public. So we will start with our elected official reports. If you'd like to come up here and take over the mic, and you can just go in the order as you line up, then we will have, hi, hello, welcome, thank you all for taking the time, and then I will call on elected official representatives on Zoom. Okay, so 2 minutes, please, and then we will see if there's any questions.
Hi, I'm Caroline Wexelbaum. I'm from State Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel's office. As always, our report is outside. There's also a QR code so you can access it online. Senator Hoylman Siegel is urging Governor Hochul to sign our Medical Aid in Dying Act. So we're really hoping that happens this year. There's actually a petition, a letter going around. There's a link in our board report that you can click if you want to sign it. It will be sent to the governor. Also, Senator Hoylman Siegel and Assemblymember Lasher introduced legislation that would essentially give New Yorkers the power to sue ICE agents, which is actually really hard right now. So it's if ICE agents violate your constitutional rights, it's not specific to ICE agents, but if they violate your constitutional rights, you have the right to bring a lawsuit. I think that I will leave everything else to folks who want to read the report. Thank you.
Great. We do have a question in the audience, so if we could get Lois a microphone, then Lois can ask her question.
So how do you sue if you don't know who the ICE agent is? They are masked, they don't have any identification, and so how do you even do that, or even attempt to do that?
Great question. I don't know. This is very, very new, but I would be, but it is an important and really, really good question. So I will find out and get back to you. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer.
I see that Zachary Kazaz has his hand up. Can we get Zachary Kazaz a microphone so we can ask his question? Thank you so much.
Hi, thanks for coming again. Just curious, since the session is starting, whether Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel has anything in the docket in relation to housing affordability statewide. I know there have been previous attempts in the past to upzone Long Island, upstate, especially near mass transit, that have failed. So curious if anything is in contention this year.
Great question. Well, Senator Hoylman-Siegel intends to complete his term in December. So I don't think he'll have any legislation up for next session. And I can't speak to who will necessarily carry legislation that he currently does.
All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, any other questions from board members on Zoom or in the room? Okay, great, thanks. Next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sharif Krabti. I'm a Community Affairs Liaison for State Senator Brian Kavanaugh. On the way over here, I usually try and think of, something light that's makes sense, like Cultural Awareness Month or, whatever is going on this month. Looked it up. Hispanic Heritage Month started 3 days ago. And then just a couple hours ago, 11 elected officials got arrested at 26 Federal Plaza trying to inspect the facility on the 10th floor. So just in light of the context that we're talking about ICE and immigration enforcement, I'll also just mention too, obviously that's going to be a big priority this upcoming session. The New York for All Act is something that's been a long time in the making. Senator Kavanaugh is a proud sponsor of that, along with Senator Hoylman-Siegel. I think that's going to be a big priority too, come January. I'll mention for us in our office, one of the big updates is that we have announced and launched a joint investigation with Senators Skoufis and Jamal Bailey to investigate property insurance rates. So, Rocio, you asked me about this, I think maybe in my first or second CB2 meeting over a year ago, potentially. I'm happy to report that we are looking into it. We've launched an investigation. We're looking into the causes of why increases in premiums have been occurring over the last few years. I can go over the statistics, but they rose by 33% nationally between 2020 and 2023. Obviously, we know that's squeezing homeowners and property owners, which then has the knock-on effect for landlords who can't afford, like the rents have to go up then to cover those costs. So it's also contributing to the housing crisis that we have here in the city. And so we're going to be looking at what's driving that. Some industry analysts are already talking about extreme weather impacts and that being a primary factor. We're going to be scheduling a hearing mid-October, so be on the lookout for that. It'll probably be held at 250 Broadway, and we're going to be hearing from experts and stakeholders about that. And then the last thing is I'll just plug, we're doing a couple flu clinics. One is going to be next Tuesday, the 23rd, from 10 to 2:30 at Grand Street Settlement at 175 Delancey. We're doing that with Presby and Dan Goldman, Grace Lee, and Chris Marte. And then Friday, October 17th, from 12 to 3 p.m., we're going to be doing one at Meltzer Towers in the TA room with Ryan Dina. So yeah, those are my main updates. I'm happy to take questions.
Okay, I see we have a question from Rocio in the front, then we'll go to Nina. Nina, you had a question as well, and then there was a third hand. I can't see whose hand that is. Okay, Ryder. Okay, so we could get microphones to those three while Rocio asks her question. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the update on this information. I just want to bring further to your attention the fact that many insurance companies refuse to cover buildings that are rent stabilized. And this is a horrible situation because not only can't we raise rents on rent stabilized units to the amount to cover the cost of operating those apartments, but on top of that, insurance companies are refusing to cover those buildings, particularly in the Bronx, which I'm not involved with the Bronx at all, but I hear the agony of Bronx owners who speak about this and how they have to search high and low to get an insurance company to cover them at 44% increase over what they were paying. This is disgusting.
Yeah, that's something that we're aware of too. I know, I think early on, you know, I think I remember reading like a New York Housing Conference report from last year that talks about this. They had, you know, like a fact sheet, some analysis on this subject. The two main things that were talked about were climate change and natural disasters increasing the rates, and then basically a form of redlining where you're denying, you know, not offering coverage just because properties are rent stabilized. So I think that's going to come up in our investigation and in the hearing, but definitely taking note again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great. Let's go to Nina next.
Hello. I'm curious, who are the experts you are inviting? I used to work at New York DFS, which regulates state chartered insurance companies, and I created the climate division there. So I'm curious, who are you inviting for as the experts?
Yeah, I mean, so we're kind of drawing on the experience. So Senator Skoufis, I think he's the chair of Investigations and Government Operations. Senator Bailey's the chair of the Insurance Committee in the Senate, and then we're Housing. So we're basically drawing on the pool from those three kind of fields of expertise to bring in different stakeholders. So it's not just insurance companies or, you know, providers, it's also tenants, it's also property owners. It's trying to cast a pretty big net to try and get as many stakeholders in the room. I think, you know, some of the main, you know, groups that represent property owners will definitely be involved. We're going to want to listen to them. Some of the main tenant advocacy groups we're going to bring into the conversation. I don't have the full list in front of me, and we don't know exactly what the hearing will look like. We'll be asking for testimony over the next month in anticipation for it. But if there's a particular group that you recommend that we reach out to, I'm happy to take that back to our team.
Yeah, I definitely recommend DFS, which regulates insurers.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Nina. And next we have Ryder Kessler.
Yeah, I'll re-up Zach's question because, you know, Brad Holm and Siegel won't be in the Senate next term, but Senator Kavanaugh will be chairing the Housing Committee. So what is on the docket for housing affordability? California just passed a statewide transit-oriented development bill that will allow homes near transit statewide. It would be great if New York did something like that too. What's in the offing?
Yeah, I don't know about TOD. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's come up about that, not to my knowledge right now. But I don't think we're still in the kind of brainstorming phase and planning phase about, you know, what sort of pieces of legislation we're going to be taking up. It's obviously going to be a jam-packed session. There's a lot of priority things that we're dealing with, especially with federal funding cuts and, you know, immigration enforcement, as was previously mentioned. And so I think the insurance, property insurance is going to be a big one. I know that we're going to continue working on the SCREE-DREE legislation that we introduced last session that was brought up. And so those are two things that I can immediately confirm that that's what we're going to work on. But definitely we'll pass on. I mean, obviously zoning is always, you know, always a big topic, especially statewide. So thanks, Ryder.
Okay, so we have a question from Keen Berger in the front. If we could get a microphone to Keen. No, we cannot.
Okay. You started out talking about some people being arrested. Where and when and why? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, there's coverage. Like if you, I was gonna say, I think the city was the first to kind of publish this. I mean, it's on Twitter and things like that. But basically, 11 elected officials, city and state, were arrested a few hours ago. I think it was this afternoon at 26 Federal Plaza.
For doing what?
They were trying to get access to the 10th floor holding facility that's in that building. And there were no congressional representatives there who actually had the statutory power to, ask for access for that. And then they were released. They're not currently in detention anymore.
So was Brian one of them?
Brian was not one of them. He is not in town right now, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions from board members on Zoom or in the room? Okay, thank you, Sharif.
Hi, everybody. This is Connor from Councilmember Christopher Marte's office. Sorry for being a little late today, but so quickly, a couple updates. Over the summer, we continued to garner support for some of our priority legislation in the council, including our retiree health care bill, our turf bill, and the bill I mentioned last time around discounts on city bike to seniors. So we've been getting additional sign-ons for all of those things. I'm also sure you've heard about the updates with the horse carriage ban bill, rider's law. The mayor recently vocalized support for the bill, so really the only thing standing in the way is Speaker Adams bringing it to a vote. Councilmember Marte's been an advocate for this for a long time now, and with the recent death of another horse, it seems like a very pressing time to pass this protection. So we urge the council speaker to bring the bill to a vote, and Councilmember will continue to advocate with animal rights advocates as he's been doing through the summer. Also, in light of the deadly incident at the Manhattan Bridge in August, the DOT has announced that they're going to pick up re-implementation of the redesign for Canal Street to make it safer for pedestrians. And on the CB2 side of Canal Street, this involves protected bike lane on Watt Street from west to Canal. It also will be adding other bike lanes on other streets in the area like Grand Street and wider sidewalks along Canal. And painted pedestrian spaces and things like that. There will also be new crosswalks and curb extensions. There's going to be a public engagement session beginning this month, and then hopefully we'll have some more of a proposal and start work next spring and summer. On the land use side, one thing that came up was recently we spoke with members of CB2's Street Activities Committee to talk about some of these pop-up events in Soho and the surrounding area. And from that conversation, we were able to get a better sense of the locations that are causing these issues and drafted a letter to DOT, DCWP, and SAPO, urging them to use the existing code and regulations around sidewalk congestion, commercial dealings on the sidewalk, to address these kinds of issues, and highlighted 13 storefronts that were flagged to us by the committee. So thank you, William and Erica, for helping us with that. And then finally, the Charter Revision Commission is moving forward. Since last time we spoke, the commission finalized their proposed changes through a final report, and the Board of Elections adopted these proposals. They've more or less stayed the same as when I presented last time. As mentioned before, there's 3 proposals that seek to erode the council's authority over land use, and it creates loopholes for a lot of different kinds of projects to avoid public process for the most part. So the council members strongly opposed to these changes, and we're also working on finalizing more of a detailed memo to go out to the commune boards to just, one, break down exactly what's being proposed, but also to break down some of our office's opinion about why it's so bad. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks so much, Connor. And I will be covering more about the Canal Street, but I'm sure that there are questions, the Canal Street improvements. I will cover that in the chair's report. So let's go to Ryder, and if we can get a microphone to Ryder. So the sooner, whoever has a microphone, you have your
I have
hand
one.
raised.
I have
Well,
one.
let's go. Yeah, why don't you go? I can't see one. I can't see you.
I wanted to thank the council member for his push on the pedestrianization of the financial district. So please pass that along.
Yes, that's also happening. I know that's a little outside CB2, but yeah, there's also a pedestrian plan for FIDA.
That's what I was going to ask as well. Is there like a timeline for that? Is that legislation required, or is that working with DOT?
So that's a good question. I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but because it's outside
yeah,
of CB2,
because
but
we do ask our elected official reps to cover what's in the district based on. So maybe follow up offline.
But we can't, and I don't think there's any additional legislative steps. It's been a plan that's been in the works for a long time. It's just been about implementation. Similar to the Canal Street pedestrian plan, the plan's been out for a number of years. So I think it's just a matter of getting the agencies to really move forward. But we can, I can sort of follow up with more information on that.
Great. Thanks so much, Connor. So next we'll go to, thank you. Oh, we had a question over there.
Yeah.
Zach?
Because you brought up bikes and city bikes, I actually had a few separate points that are sort of inextricably tied. One is on the mayor's deficiency in deploying new bike lanes, which are much lower than the target, and curious what Councilman Marty's office is doing from City Council as their core oversight responsibility. Two, there's a resolution that's in the packet today about criminal summons for bikers for minor infractions, which are disproportional and seemingly are all being thrown out in court because judges, I think, don't seem to want to hear it. So similarly, curious there if Chris Marty is considering legislation to remove that criminal basis for bicycles rolling through a red light, whereas cars are just given a civil notice. And finally, on City Bike, great that you're working on a discount for City Bike for seniors. As you know, the mayor effectively bullied City Bike into putting in a speed limit, which effectively made e-bike rides about 30% more expensive because it's on a per minute basis and speed impacts how long you ride city bikes. So there was not a proportionate discount. So same here, if there is going to be negotiation with City Bike to further lower those rates, since now it's a much lower value for money.
Yeah, those are good points. I think toward the first two, just related to biking infrastructure in the district, I mean, I think the councilor is a huge advocate generally around bike lanes. It's like his primary mode of transportation, and I think we are looking for ways to advocate for that rollout to be more efficient. And in terms of like any legislation that can be introduced, the second point was related to the infractions.
Criminalization.
Yeah,
of...
I wasn't personally aware of the distinction, but I can definitely bring that to our legislative director, Max, to see if he can intro a legislative inquiry for that division, see if that can get introed as a bill. And then for the seniors city bike bill, I feels like generally there's not a lot of oversight when it comes to how Lyft increases their rates. But I think that I can also bring that back, and maybe there's a way that that can also be tagged on or something. But I think that it's true. They've been ramping up both just like restrictions on city bike usage and also actually enforcing the penalties. I know like a lot of my friends even are getting like stopped by the police now for like running red lights on city bike when it never happened before. So I think that it's important for the council to respond accordingly. So yeah, definitely bring that back.
All right, thank you. And again, there's a resolution that's at the bottom of the packet from Traffic and Transportation on the criminalization of the bikes.
Okay, yeah, I'll look out for that.
I would just
Wonderful.
second that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have another hand up?
No, I would just second. I think the decriminalization is a very important issue.
Yeah, I can definitely take that back.
Okay. Thank you, Connor.
Thank
Next,
you.
we have Nicole Barth.
Valerie, I have a question.
Oh, okay. I can't see from this angle. I don't see a hand up.
I just have a question. You mentioned that you want to eliminate the horses, which is fine. I saw something today about the mayor advocating to replace the horses with like old-timey electric cars. Is that in that bill?
No, I don't believe that it is. I think that Rider's Law has been introduced for a while, and it's primarily just the banning of that business in the park and the commercial use of horses for purposes like that. And Ryder's the name of a horse that died as well. Yeah, sorry, different Ryder, I know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Defamation lawsuit coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Connor. Next, we have Nicole Barth.
Hi, everybody. Nicole Barth from Councilmember Eric Botcher's office. We have had one heck of a week in Eric Botcher's office, mostly in the top of the district. We've had a lot going on, but also down here, I wanted to bring you up to speed. Just wanted to say, I know that Assemblymember Glick mentioned it, but the affordable housing lottery at 570 Washington Street is open, and it is open until October 27th, so please spread the word and ask people to apply for that. A couple of things that we wanted to announce on September 27th on 23rd Street, right in front of the SVA Theater, which is between 8th and 9th Avenues. We're going to be having an adoption event with animal care centers. So it's time, everyone, to come visit and adopt a kitty or a dog and give them a home. We still have senior food bag happening. We have that for until the end of the October, so we have 3 more instances of that. Scree and Dree Clinic and our housing clinic is still open. If you need to speak to a housing lawyer or you would like to speak to anyone in the mayor's public engagement unit about Scree and Dree, please give us a call. I just wanted to quickly, I just want to let everyone know, because this was the council member's bill. Well, resolution is the New York City Council passed Resolution 362 on September 10th to support state-level social worker workforce act. It's a bill that aims to diversify and strengthen New York's social work workforce by removing barriers to licensure, such as entry-level exams. This local resolution urges the New York State Legislature to pass the law and calls for increased transparency and accountability in social work licensing and services. And lastly, and then I will leave you guys to go. We are very, very happy to learn that last week, the Community Education Council, CECD2, that they elected parents who reflect the values and inclusivity that we hold dear here in New York City. And they voted to approve Resolution 283, which rescinded their request for a review committee on the Manhattan School District's inclusive gender guidelines. So basically, the original resolution 248, which was an attempt to undermine protection for transgender students and gender nonconforming students, is no longer active and valid. And that's all I have for now. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Brian? You have a question?
Yes. So everybody is publicizing the affordable housing lottery at 570 Washington Street.
Yes.
It says 176 units are available, and yet the available units listed only add up to 122. So,
Right, what happened to the other ones? I
Yes.
actually checked into that, and the other ones are reserved for formerly homeless seniors. So they have a chunk for that group. And I don't know why they didn't put that so that people would understand. They just listed studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and people are calling and saying, what happened to the other, whatever, 27 or more apartments? That's who it's going to.
so then those other units, is that a separate lottery for the formerly homeless?
I don't know exactly, but yes, I believe so. There's a separate lottery just for those units.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from board members? Katie? We could get a microphone to Katie.
Thanks, Nicole. So I just want to know if there's preference for community board 2 members in the lotteries. Used to be there would be half of the slots would be reserved for the community board. No.
Not that I know of. It's run by Housing Connect, and there is no, I think if that was the case, then it would be all CB2 people. It would be all like West Village people. But no, as far as I know, there's no preference. The lottery is equal for everyone aside for the formerly homeless individuals.
Great, thanks. I can't see any hands online.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Next, we'll go to the Borough President's report, and we have Andrew Chang here.
Hi, I'm Andrew from the Manhattan Borough President's Office. I do want to say I have applied to on Housing Connect. You have a better chance of getting a unit if you live in that community district. And if you're a government employee, you have a better chance. I think it's like 5%. So yeah, so if you live in that district, you have a 5% or more greater chance of getting a unit. So check it out, the Housing Connect website. Yeah, so I have a lot to report. I'll just quickly summarize each thing. One, we announced our capital budget allocations on our website. This is about $55 million in capital funding across the borough of Manhattan. So one key investment is that $1 million was allocated to Gotham Park, which is right underneath the Brooklyn Bridge on the Manhattan side, where the arches are. Secondly, as adding on to what Connor from Councilmember Marte's office was saying, we have been involved with the Canal Street redesign project. We've been going to the meetings, and yes, they will go before the community board 1, 2, and 3 soon, and they are having public meetings as of now, and I believe one community workshop will be on the 1st of October. I don't know where, I don't know what time, but it's on the 1st of October. So stay tuned for more information from DOT and in my office as soon as we get that information. And then Community Board Leadership Training Series. So we do this every year for our community board members, new and old. We have mandated trainings on conflict of interest, EEO, equal employment opportunity, and skills to combat implicit bias. So please stay tuned for more information for the Zoom registration link and the exact dates for each specific workshop. But it's going to be, the time period will be from the 20th of October to the 24th. So stay tuned. And then the Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine has a representative on the community advisory committees for casinos, as you all may have heard, the Caesars Palace Times Square CAC and the Avenir CAC overwhelmingly, well, by majority vote, voted down those respective applications, and that includes the borough president's representative. He voted no on those 2 applications. The remaining community advisory committee for the Freedom Plaza Casino will vote next week. And then lastly, a couple of events that we're doing. We are having an LGBTQ business summit tomorrow at John Jay College. We're partnering with the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce of New York, TD Bank, Sunnyside Queens Chamber of Commerce, and various other elected official offices. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. John Jay College tomorrow. We're going to be marching the African American Day Parade on Sunday. That's up in Harlem on 111th Street, Adam Clay Powell Jr. Boulevard. And we are having a Hispanic Heritage Month celebration on the 25th of September, next Thursday. It starts at 6 p.m. It's going to be uptown, Sugar Hill Children's Museum at 898 St. Nicholas Avenue. So that's our, so our events are open to the public, and if you want to march in the African American Day Parade with us, please let me know. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Are there any questions for Andrew in the room from board members or on Zoom from board members? Okay, seeing none, thanks so much. Great. So that is the Borough President's report. So now I will go to the Chair's report. Yes? Yes. Naturally. So let's go to, I see Betsy. So Betsy Schmid from Congressman Dan Goldman's office.
Hi. I know Carlos is usually with you all. He's out sick, but so I'm filling in. I know there have been a lot of questions about ICE specifically, so I thought I would kind of address some of the things that we've been doing on that front. So today, Congressman Goldman's No Secret Police Act bill reached 100 co-sponsors, which would specifically address, it would require that ICE not be masked and that they wear, like regular officers, a tag, a name tag that shows who they are. And so we've reached 100 co-sponsors there, which is great, but none of them are Republicans. So it'll be hard to get that to the floor, but we're going to keep working on that. We also, the congressman joined 11 other members in suing the federal government regarding being barred from visiting detention centers, including 26 Federal Plaza, the 10th floor, and MDC in Brooklyn, which also has is using one of their wings as an ICE detention center. And the congressman has been barred multiple times. They'll tell us, here's what you have to do to come. We do that. They still say no. And so that he joined the lawsuit because of that. He also put out a statement, but a judge also, I believe 2 days ago, Judge Kaplan, issued a temporary restraining order to force the Trump administration to address the horrifying conditions which we've been hearing about at 26 Federal Plaza on the 10th floor, which is likely what I think the members were, like what the state and local electeds were doing today, that they have to change the conditions because it's overcrowded and unsanitary. We've heard that people aren't getting food that they need and that kind of thing. So we put out a statement about that. But in general, like those are, let me see what else I feel like. Also the congressman and Senator Warren have demanded an investigation into ICE's detention of U.S. citizens. We've seen it a few times where what will turn out that actually it's a U.S. citizen they arrested and not anyone, like obviously we don't want them to be arresting anybody, but when you're holding people because you didn't even bother to look. So we've also put in things about that. Yeah, so that's, yeah, there's 53 other members on that one. What else? So I would say maybe if you all have more questions about the ICE stuff, happy to talk about that. Yeah, the congressman was not there today. They're in DC. You probably heard the budget fight, fighting about the budget. So we'll be there. But he has tried to inspect 26 Federal Plaza as well as MDC and been denied multiple times. So, yeah, I'll leave it there.
So much, Betsy. Do we have any questions for Betsy from Congressman Dan Goldman's office, from board members in the room or on Zoom?
Oh wait, Lorraine,
Not
sorry.
seeing any. Thank you so much.
Great.
Betsy,
Real quick, how can I get, I
Yes?
do have our report. Who should I send that to? Or just drop it in the
Send
chat?
it to, if you could put it in the chat as well, send it, Mark will put his email in the chat for you.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go to Hayden Ryan next, the Director of Special Projects and Assemblymember Grace Lee's office.
Hi, thank you very much. Yes, so of course, my name is Hayden, Director of Special Projects for Assemblymember Lee. I've just a couple quick updates this month. Starting off, keeping in theme, the Assembly member has been standing with our communities against these harmful federal policies at 26 Federal Plaza. She joined several other Assembly members and senators to witness firsthand these unlawful detainments and denials of due process. She's been very clear in her speech that this is unconstitutional, un-American, and we joined Assembly member Tony Simone in co-sponsoring the Melt ICE Act, which, similar to Dan Goldman's act that was mentioned a few minutes ago, will require ICE officers to unmask and identify themselves. Furthermore, she has been speaking out against these proposed SNAP cuts. We've heard from a lot of parents who've said that they have had to skip meals to feed their own children. And so we've joined Congressman Dan Goldman, Councilmember Susan Zhuang, and local advocates to highlight how these cuts are hurting working families in Chinatown, Lower East Side, and across our city, and just really highlighting these negative effects before we can really do the main action on it in the legislative session, which of course will start in January. And then again, closer to home, we've been attending, of course, these Canal Street redesign discussions. The Assembly member recently met with DOT Commissioner Ydanis Rodriguez, and we'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we hear next steps on this important redesign from the DOT. That's all I have for now. I'm happy to take any questions back to the assembly member or our legislative director. But yeah, please reach out to our office if we can do anything to support CB2 or its members. Thank you.
Great. Do we have any questions for Hayden? Any board members in the room or on Zoom have questions for Hayden from Assemblymember Grace Lee's office? Okay. Thank you so much, Hayden.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lysander Rosario from Council District 2.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I just wanted to give a quick update regarding the office. We're still open for business, so to say. So for constituent concerns or for any legislative things we could forward to the next council member, you can still come to our office in person, or you have to make an appointment, of course, or you could email us or call us by phone. And also, we wanted to share an update regarding the mayor's proposed ballot initiatives that will come in this upcoming November election. I just wanted to forward a statement from our office saying that we're doing voter outreach to make people aware that there are questions on this ballot this November that will remove the council's role in the ULURP process. City council is an important voice for the community when it comes to ULURP, and this change could greatly impact the land use process when it comes to that. And so our office will have, starting on Friday, right, by tomorrow afternoon, materials, physical materials and information, if anyone wants them, so you could just drop by. And I'll also be sharing those pamphlets or those papers as well with CB2 after this call. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us via our email or via phone.
So much. Are there any questions for Lysander from the Council District 2 office? On Zoom or in the room from board members? I'm seeing none. Thank you so much for your patience and for giving us an update and for being here. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So are there any other elected official representatives in the room or on Zoom that I have not called on yet for an elected official report? Okay. So with that, I'm going to continue on to the chair's report. So happy September. Welcome back, everyone. And first of all, thank you to our gracious host, NYU, for hosting us this evening. And thank you to CB2 staff, I know some of who have left, and Mark Diller for getting us ready for today, and to our tech consultant, John, for producing tonight's meeting. There has been a renovation in this room, and the reason why this is over here is because there is a pipe that burst as things happen in renovation. So while we are thankful to be able to be in this space, we are using all of our own equipment this evening due to the issue with the plumbing. So thank you to our wonderful team here that is producing this for us. And I'd like to thank the board members, our board members who filled out the quorum roll call for tonight's meeting, ensuring that we can start tonight's meeting almost on time, nearly on time, so thank you so much. And I want to address a couple things very quickly. New member board member engagement. I want to thank all of the new board members who have been actively engaging with different committees and attending committee meetings. I've received updates from committee chairs and the office on your attendance, and I love to see it. This is an important part of the discovery process as we start narrowing down that window towards your assignment. So committee chairs have been notified that we are going to begin the process of assigning new board members to committees soon, and I will be visiting with each of them on the needs of their committee and balancing out in terms of looking forward at succession planning and where the needs of the board are is the highest priority. All 10 of our standing committees are great placements, and each one of them will provide a purposeful, fulfilling assignment. So please stay tuned for that. As well, to make sure that everyone is engaging, you will receive your board buddy assignment at the end of this week, beginning of next week. So that's also a great opportunity to have a friendly face at a committee. And this is for new board members to have a face at a committee or a name that maybe you hadn't thought about. And so that'll be an important part of this next part of the process. Budget priorities and district needs statement for fiscal year 27. All committees that met in September and are going to meet in September do have the fiscal year 27 district needs statement and fiscal year 27 budget priorities on their agenda with public hearings. So we are ahead of the game. Thank you to the committee chairs for getting us ahead of the game on that this year. We will be voting on budget priorities at the October Executive Committee meeting, and from that meeting subsequently, we will then vote on them at the October full board meeting. The format is slightly different this year, and instead of me not getting it all correctly, Mark will cover that in his district manager's report this evening. The next thing I want to cover is what Connor from Councilmember Marte's office had mentioned briefly. We are going to be entering a public engagement process for improvements to Canal Street, a comprehensive redesign on and around Canal Street in Manhattan to enhance pedestrian safety, expand the bike network, create open space, and calm traffic. This project will cross 3 community boards, 1, 2, and 3, and DOT has engaged all 3 boards with briefings, and I will continue to everyone will have an opportunity to hear that plan in just 1 second, in addition to the respective bids that touch that project. So DOT will present the plan formally to CB2 this fall, as well as this spring. So there will be at least 2 opportunities. There will be at least 2 opportunities to hear from DOT and for the board to give feedback, and this process will continue through the spring. This is something that has been, and as I'm sure many have been on the board for a long time, this is something that has been a priority to get done, and with the most recent unfortunate fatalities that accelerated this plan's movement forward, and that's why it has been focused on. They've already started, DOT has already started the public on the street outreach, so that's happened yesterday and today and continues throughout September in specific locations around Canal Street. We'll include that information on the newsletter that goes out this week with that information. And we've already heard about the Borough President Leadership Training Series from Andrew. There are some mandatory ones in there that you are required to do, and there will be more details about that forwarded on. I want to quickly clear up 570 Washington Street, the lottery. It is senior apartments that are for New Yorkers age 62 and older. I don't know if that was quite mentioned there. So that is the end of my chair's report. Are there any other comments or questions on that? Otherwise, I will turn it over to the Mark for his district manager's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark Diller, District Manager. Echoing the thanks to NYU. I know that Valentine is watching online, so thank you for all that extra help today, especially giving us the space when it's under construction. Calendar update, the Schools and Education Committee's meeting has moved to 5:30 on Thursday, September 25th, and then Human Services is starting at 7 o'clock the same night, so it'll be a double up, but not a conflict. We are working with NYU and with the LaGuardia Garden folks on refurbishing the labyrinth that is in between the Time landscape and the LaGuardia Garden. We are in touch with the original artist. We are mining the original permits. It's actually quite fascinating, and we're hopeful that we can restore that or be a party to restoring that. I've been reporting on the EEPC, the Equal Employment Practices Commission, which audits community boards about once every 4 years. And we have now received our final determination. And I'm happy to say that all we need to do is complete a few trainings. The staff has already completed the trainings, and we're gonna, and in case you're wondering, you know, the chair's job is hard enough, but now they have requirements that the chair also take certain trainings. So we're going to put that together and we'll be in compliance shortly with that. Let's see. So the district needs statement and the statement of budget priorities is, as the chair said, on everybody's agenda. There's a Google Drive that is chock-a-block full of information, both for this year and I gave you last year's as well. Please pay attention both to the budget priorities and to the narrative statements of district needs, because there are some district needs that are not solved by money. Sometimes they're solved by policy. Sometimes they're solved by legislation. And it's great to have your authentic voices be the ones who inform those narrative discussions. The change that the chair mentioned is that it used to be sort of an auction about whose budget priority is ahead of whose. And this year, the Department of City Planning has abandoned that unified single list of priorities in favor of an agency by agency priority. So if you have a priority with respect to the Department of Parks, or 7 of them, you rank them just for the Department of Parks and you don't have to compete with the Department of Homeless Services. There is still the requirement, charter mandated, for a statement of the top 3 district needs. And generally speaking, our top 3 district needs are ones that are also budget priorities. So for example, last year, our top 3 were an intensive mental health care unit, affordable housing on Howard Street, trying to convert that parking garage in the federal system, and then actually a variety of technology needs for certain identified schools. Whatever it is that you choose, there's a narrative statement that goes with that, and then of course, the actual budget priority that goes with it. The Google Drive is chock-a-block full. We covered this in exec, but if there's anybody who either wants a refresher on that or wasn't at exec and wants to learn about what's in the Google Drive, I am delighted offline to talk to you about how to access that and what may be there, and also answer any questions about things that we didn't think to put in. Unless there are questions, that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. All right, so with that, thank you, Mark. So with that, we're going to move into business session, which means a roll call. So I'm going to turn it over to our secretary, Emma.
Thank you, Valerie. Okay. William Benesh. Keen Berger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Amy Brenna. Rich Cacapolo. Ritu Chatri. You online? Okay. Nina Chen. Valerie De La Rosa. Arturo Fernandez. Mara Fitzgerald. I just saw her. I saw her come in. Okay. Thanks, folks. Cormac Flynn. Susan Gammy. JJ Herrera. DJ Jane. Zachary Kazaz. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Patricia Laria. Janet Liff.
Here.
Benjamin Listman. Paul McDade. Brian Pape. Matthew Pereira. Lois Rakoff. Brant Rossler. Sean Ryan has not arrived. Okay. Rusio Sands. Shirley Secunda. Eddie Siegel. Frederica Siegel.
Here.
Thank you. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith. Chenault Spence.
Here.
Thank you. Sean Sweeney. Here. Susan Wittenberg. Not yet. Okay. Thank you all. We still have quorum.
Great. Thank you so much. So now I will ask for if there's any changes to the July full board minutes. Carter Booth, can we get Carter Booth a microphone? We can continue with the business once there's a microphone. Carter?
Just wanted to point out that I was in fact present in person as well as being present on Zoom at the beginning of the meeting.
So it sounds like we have an amendment for the minutes
for the attendance.
for the July full board. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we get that.
I just to be clear, it says that I'm present via Zoom and not counting towards quorum, but I was also present in person. I began the meeting on Zoom and
Okay. We get that. Are there any other changes? Any other amendments? So with that, is there a motion to approve the July full board minutes as amended? Okay, and a second? Okay, great. Thank you so much. So with that, bless you. Okay, so let's move on to the resolutions from our standing committees. So committee chairs, please only state the therefore be it resolves in your resolution. We are operating with the sense that board members have read the resolutions in the full board packet. So let's start with landmarks, where Chenault Spence will give this month's report.
Okay, the first and only resolution is 19 West 12th Street, application to replace existing front facade cornice. Oddly, there are two cornices on this building, one at the proper place at the top and another one that's decorative farther down. The resolution approved the removal of the existing non-historic cornice, replace the upper cornice with a design with returns that is appropriate to the period of the house and in a dark color so that it's consistent with the general appearance of the cornices of the two houses adjacent. And that a metal or wood be considered instead of fiberglass. And if this is not done, that care is taken, that it is carefully detailed, and that the surface finish and paint give the appearance of wood. That careful restoration of the facade be undertaken for the area where the lower cornice is removed. And as a matter of record, we approved a routine revocable consent for garbage containers from a resolution that we had already passed previously.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Would anyone like to comment or ask a question? Katie, could we get Katie a microphone?
It's more just a copy edit on
Okay, if you could speak into the microphone so Chenault could hear. Could someone please assist so we can continue moving forward? Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That just on the D of the resolves, careful restoration of the faced should be facade. Just a small edit. Yes, but it says faced. Yeah.
The secretary will take care of that, please.
Okay, so with that correction to come, we have, is there any other comments or questions? Okay, is there any unwillingness to vote on landmark item number 2? I also see that a quorum was not present for this committee either, so just going to make note of that. Is there any unwillingness to vote on landmark item 1? I'm not seeing any in the room or on Zoom. So all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Okay, the motion passes. Great. So next we will move on to land use and housing, where Katie Bordnar will give the land use report.
There were four resolutions before the committee. The first one is a resolution on 51 Little West 12th Street, a application to the Board of Standards and Appeals for a zoning variance pursuant to ZR 7221 to permit the construction of a 14-story mixed-use commercial and residential building in an M15 zoning district. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 recommends denial of this application on the basis that the applicant has failed to meet all 5 findings needed for the granting of a variance according to ZR 7221. It's a long, therefore be it resolved, but we rejected the arguments on site conditions. I'll abbreviate it. Rate of return, neighborhood character, self-created hardship, and minimum variance. And with this vote was unanimous. The second resolution was on 126 Lafayette Street, a project to construct a mixed-use building that will consist of 99 residential units, of which 25 shall be affordable units that will be inclusionary units as part of the mandatory inclusionary housing MIH program administered by the New York City Department of Housing and Preservation Development. I will point out one of the whereases. The committee is very sad to remember that Galindo Marino Villegas, a worker killed on March 7th, 2023 during the demolition of this building at 126, 130 Lafayette Street. So we were saddened to recall that during this discussion. However, we have resolved that the project will result in much needed housing and affordable housing. We appreciate the 2-bedroom option, which gives bigger apartments. All amenities will be free to the affordable housing residents. It's an all-electric building with sub-metering, which is advantageous to the residents. The choice of income bands is also commendable, and all the affordable housing will be on site rather than in a separate off-site place. We commend that the building staff will receive prevailing wage, but we are critical of the fact that the applicant has chosen to build 99 units and thus avoid the requirement of paying construction workers the prevailing wage. The applicant is soliciting construction bids from union and non-union contractors, but is not required to hire a union firm. This is the sole criticism of the project, and also a criticism of the underlying regulations. We support the project, and the vote was unanimous. The 2 resolutions on 30 Thompson Street and 285 Hudson Street are linked, and if you look at them, you'll see that they mirror each other. So it could be a little confusing, but for 30 Thompson Street, CB2 Manhattan supports the creation of HDFC cooperatives or affordable renters at 30 Thompson Street, a first of its kind in our community district. CB2 supports the proposal for 30 Thompson Street as outlined and encourages the New York City Council and Department of Housing and Preservation and Development to approve the project. The sibling project at 285 Hudson Street will be combined and allow for a project at 360 West Broadway. And therefore be it resolved on 285 Hudson Street that we support the creation of HDF's cooperatives or affordable rentals at 285 Hudson Street, a first of its kind in our community district. And we also support the proposal for 285 Hudson Street as outlined and encourages New York City Council and the Department of Housing Preservation and Development to approve the project. And again, as with all the resolutions, the vote was unanimous.
Okay, I see we have some, if we could get microphones and we can get these hands called on from board members. So I'm going to call on, yeah?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, so Shirley and then
Yeah,
Marcia.
I'm just curious about the house and street and
Thompson, Hudson and Thompson.
the two affordable housing. Just the size, the number of stories in proportion to the number of units. And I just wondered, how many units are there per floor?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Did we see
It seemed
the
like it
plan
was a
on
very small number.
Yes, it is.
My arithmetic.
It's a moderate.
So
The only thing
interesting.
that we'll say is that by providing this housing off-site, we got 5% more affordable housing than if it had been provided in the 360 West Broadway building. So we're going to get a little more affordable housing than we had banked on. And I think that the total units is 24 and 44, so 68.
Katie, and if I may, I think it was a mix for the two projects. It was a mix of either 2 one-bedrooms per floor or a 2-bedroom and a one-bedroom
Could
per
wait
floor.
to be called on, please.
Yeah, so it's just very few units per floor.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that looks like about
Sounds very nice.
three units, 3 units. Arturo, is that correct? 3 units per floor? Yeah.
Max.
And we're getting, because of the way they're doing it with this 2-bedroom option, which is a big deal, we're getting some bigger apartments. We're not just getting all studios or 1-bedrooms. We're getting some 2-bedroom.
I hate to interrupt, but do we need to, are we connected to Zoom, Mark? Are we connected to Zoom? Because I don't see it on the screen, so are we not? Oh, okay. Sorry, continue, Katie.
Okay, I think
Yeah, Rocio had her hand up.
Make sure it's
Hello?
Yeah.
Regarding number 1, 51 Little West 12th Street, BSA zoning variance for 14 stories, I have a few comments and regarding your resolution. I'm not asking to make any changes, but I do want to talk about what is said in the resolution so that everybody else understands. I think that needs to be clearer. So number 4, you said self-created hardship. Number C, the applicant did not pursue any pre-construction protections from the standard hotel, and after the construction had not pursued legal action against the hotel for the damage to the building. And then number 1, it is the responsibility of the party that is constructing a building, undermining a building, to protect the adjacent buildings. The fact that the applicant did not do that should not be held against the applicant. There may be many reasons as to why the applicant did not do that, including relying on the fact that his building should have been protected by its neighbor in accordance with DOB requirements. There are steps that should have been taken by the constructing party. These regulations for protecting the integrity of adjoining properties before and during construction are outlined in Chapter 33 of the New York City Building Code, specifically Section BC 3309, Protections of Adjoining Property. The responsibility falls on the person or entity causing the work, in other words, the developer, the contractor of the new building, to provide and maintain protections at their own expense under the supervision of a licensed professional or registered architect. Further, you go on to say pre-construction survey, section 3309.4. The license to enter adjoining property is section 3309.2. Design and planning for protective measures is section 3309.3, 5, and 6. And monitoring plan is section 3309.8. The measures are not enforced through DOB permit application. The code emphasizes proactive responsibility on the construction party. Further, the resolution states that the applicant did not pursue legal action against the hotel for the damage. It does not state why that is. Legal action should be used as a last resort, in my opinion, and it's expensive, and not everyone is in the position to pursue that option. This should not be held against the applicant either. It is easy to spend somebody else's money. The cost of litigating these types of cases can be quite expensive, can exceed $500,000. 4D, committee finds the hardship of the vacant lot is self-created inasmuch as the applicant did nothing to protect his property from the damage which has led to demolition. This paragraph should be deleted for the reasons I stated above. It is very unfair to have this paragraph in the resolution. I am voting against this resolution. Number 2, if I can continue, or would you like to respond?
Well, as a
I'm sorry, what are you
former-
asking for? I'm sorry, what was your question? I didn't hear it, Rocio.
Say that again?
I didn't understand what your last part of your sentence was.
I'd like to know whether she would like to respond to my
Oh,
comments.
okay.
Because the
Thank you.
resolution is written, is faulty in the way I read it, and I think it's unfair what the committee is doing to this applicant. I have no interest in the applicant, but I do not like things that are unfair. And those resolutions should be considered, those paragraphs should be considered, and not attack the applicant for failure to do what you think he was supposed to do when somebody else was really in charge of doing that.
Rocio, may I ask, are you proposing an amendment of any sort?
I said
it's not
no. I
clear.
just, when I started my little speech
Okay.
here, I said I want people to realize what is happening here in this resolution. I'm not asking you to delete anything because I know you're not going to, but it is what it is. I just want everybody else to think about these things before they vote and when they think about what is really happening here. What did the committee really do?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarification. If Katie would like to respond, or if there are any other comments or anyone else would like to discuss in the room or on Zoom. I see Arturo has his hand up.
Not on this topic, so if it's on this
so,
topic.
Okay, so
I'll
we don't have anything on the floor, so if you could please get a microphone, if you would like to speak, please find a microphone to yourself. Yes, continuing. No one.
Is it possible? Is it possible to continue with the second resolution, or we're only working on the first one?
Well, that is up to everyone here. Would we like to break these apart? Do we want them to be together? So it sounds like we're discussing the first resolution. So I'd like to kind of stick to the first resolution. I think it's for everyone to follow along. So if there's no opposition to that, then I'm going to continue with the raised hands. And Katie, you're free to respond, but there are other people I think that have their hands raised that have microphones. So Susan, we'll continue.
I just wanted to simply say beyond the committee that having met with the applicant at 2 different meetings, it was an unusual project and an unusual application, but mostly our objections were that, as Katie stated, there were very clear acceptable or within the right parameters of, we mentioned the hotel, we mentioned a townhouse or something like that, where we wouldn't have had any objections to their wanting to build it. It was just, the applicant didn't want to use any of the things that were really allowed to him, and so his proposal we felt was really very much out of bounds. So I'm not arguing with Rocia's comments, I just wanted to get to the essence of the denial.
And I just want to say, in response to what you said, as a member of my co-op board, which is a very large property, as you know, we've had at least 2 adjacent construction projects in which the construction project, did exactly everything that you mentioned. However, our building felt that we needed our own information, and we always took our own photographs and made our own report. Some of it was maybe more elaborate, hiring an engineer. Some of it was simple, taking photographs to show what the damage might be. But when we asked this applicant, he hadn't done any of even the simple things, and we felt we were pointing it out. So thank you for your comment.
So everyone's going to speak one time and then we'll go back around, but I want to clarify, we haven't called this one out. So would we like to call this resolution out and then vote on the others and then come back to this discussion? So this is resolution number one. So we're going to call out number one. Is there any discussion? Anyone would like to speak on items 2 through 4? Otherwise, we can vote on items 2 through 4 in a block and then return to number 1. So I see Rocio. We're restarting our round since we're on a different item. So we're calling out number 1. We'll come back to it. So now, are you wanting to call out number 2, or are you wanting to call them each out? What is happening here?
I would like to speak regarding resolution number 2.
Okay, so are we calling out number 2 and then voting on 3 through 4? Is that what we'll return to 1 and 2 separately, or treat them separately, and then go to can we vote on 3 through 4? Oh, there's 3, 4, 5. So is there any on 3 through 5 that want to be called out? Otherwise, we can vote on 3 through 5.
3, 5 is just.
Okay, that's what I thought. I had the number 4 here. So is there anything on 3 through 4 that anyone would like to discuss? Otherwise, we can vote on land use items 3 through 4. Is there any unwillingness to vote? Would anyone like to talk about any number 3 or 4, or call them out separately? Okay, so if there's not any unwillingness to vote on land use items 3 through 4, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? So land use items 3 through 4 pass. We will go back to number 1, and then we will address number 2. So I've already heard from you on number 1. So Ryder, we have not heard from you on number 1. Then once we go through, everyone has had a chance to speak. This is the time to if you'd like to talk about land use resolution number 1. I hope that that's clear. So Ryder.
Sure.
And then Brian.
Just a quick point. I thought I wanted to credit the committee for resolution 2 and acknowledging the need for housing and affordable housing in the district.
Really quickly, we're talking about land use.
This is a comment about number 1.
Okay.
I'm just saying in the context of that.
I was just people might get confused.
Don't worry, I will be as clear as possibly that I can possibly be. In the context of that, I thought resolution 1, I understand that it's discussing whether the variance terms apply in a very narrow way, but I thought it would be potentially worth. Sorry?
It was going in and out.
Yeah, I'm here. That it would make sense to think about the need for housing in the context of this application that would allow more housing. And certainly when we're comparing this to the idea of a single family home at this spot, it seems much more in line with our overall values to think about allowing more housing. But no.
Thank you so much. Are there any someone who has not spoken yet before I call on people that have spoken already on land use item 1? Okay, hi.
Hi, thank you. On the number 1, I'm not comfortable voting for it because mirroring what Ryder just said, I understand that there are steps for variances, but the statement on number 3 that they're very definitive that this is not appropriate for mixed use for a mixed use development, and the meat packing to me is quintessentially mixed use. There's plenty of residential. So that jumped out at me as not actually being a fair statement. So I will vote against this.
To be very clear, meatpacking is an M15 district, which does not allow residential. We are aware of a small handful of units that may have been used residentially, may be vacant, and may be legal or may be legal under some old iteration. But meatpacking is not a residential area, and the zoning does not allow for it. So there may be changes to that. And with Gansevoort Square, we are aware that there will be some changes, but they're not here yet, and we will be deeply involved in the discussion of any changes in that area, because it will be zoning changes require a ULURP process, which we are.
Are you clarifying that it's not mixed use? That meatpacking is not mixed use because of the
It
N15?
is not residential.
Okay,
It's not
perfect. The
residential.
mixed use has the residential, right? Okay,
That's what
right.
I'm hearing.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
We even had to overturn a deed, I think, a restrictive declaration not allowing office space on Gansevoort Street to allow the development. Carter can remind us of any details that I'm forgetting about Gansevoort Street, but we had to overturn a ban on offices on Gansevoort Street to allow the redevelopment of the south side. And that's what we did in this committee, in this board.
Okay, great. And Brian, you had a question?
Just wanted a clarification. It says high.
It's green, right?
It says green and it has high battery.
Oh, okay.
Try this one. So just a clarification. So an application. Okay, so an application for a zoning variance, does that have to meet all 5 of the, all 5 findings for these criteria that are listed, or just 1 or 2? All 5.
I think that one knocks you out. I mean, we're going to be advisory to the Board of Standards and Appeals. It's been a long time since we've done a variance. We can get clarity on that, but Sean seems to.
You have to meet.
Whoa, if we could get a microphone, if you could raise your hand, then I will call on you. Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much.
Yes, for a variance, you have to meet all 5 findings.
Thank you for that. Are there any other, I understand, I'm asking if there's anyone who has not had a chance to speak yet, then we will go back. So I'm going to go to Carter in the back. Carter, could we get a microphone to Carter? We have not heard speak on this yet, and if there's anyone on Zoom, board member-wise, that would like to speak that has not spoken yet, please raise your hand so we can get you lined up. Carter? If you could get a microphone that's turned on.
Yeah, they have to show all 5.
Okay. Yes, no, maybe? Okay. So I wanted to speak to 2 things. One, I think Rocio makes excellent points, but in this particular situation, what we were led to believe is that the building was not properly maintained. And so when somebody doing normal construction that's allowed in the city, you can't overprotect the situation. And the Department of Buildings never cited the neighbor for causing these problems. And the statute of limitations has since expired. So I think it's well spoken to, but you have to maintain your property in order to have protection. You can't go do all the protection work for somebody else if you're not maintaining the property. And there were vacates on the upper floors in the building. There wasn't a C of O. There was a number of issues. It's very confusing, but we wanted to point it out because it's not as if there was some perfectly viable occupied building next door when the construction was done, and that was what caused the problems. There's a number of violations on the buildings, et cetera, but it was never pursued, and therefore DOB never had assigned any fault to the neighboring property owner for the construction they had done. And as far as the second part about the character of this area, it's why they're seeking a variance, because residential is not allowed as of right in the meatpacking district, period. That's it. And that's why the variance is being sought. And one of the things that we did discuss at the meeting, that any changes in this area, it's not really appropriate to seek these changes through variances. It's if you want to rezone the area, then that should be the discussion that's being had. But having a one-off projects that don't conform to the needs of what we think the future of the city should be in that area, that's the proper way to approach this and have a full dialogue about what housing could be. And what the reso speaks to is that they did not look at some of the other factors and omitted some of the issues. And so it's not a referendum on housing at all in this area. It's simply a point of what was put before us. And also, that this isn't really the right way if we want to see housing in this district. But from my own experience, from looking at this area over the many years and getting to know people in the area, there are probably 6 apartments in the meatpacking district, 6 units that, and I know specifically of 3 that are occupied and know the residents. I believe there's 2 or 3 others. So to say that housing is a use in this area is not correct. And I believe that all of those units were created through the loft law. They are not as of right, and there may have been 1 caretaker apartment, which is above another 2-story or 3-story retail store, or what's now a retail store. And just to point out what Katie was speaking to on Gansford Street, there are even restrictive declarations that were placed on properties when other properties were built, and those had to be removed, and housing was not one of the, and this was, I think, it was just before COVID that was done, and housing was not one of the options that was explored on that because there were other viable alternatives. So I think it's important to look at this for what it is and what's before us, and it's not a commentary on broader changes, but it's on the application that was put before us at the meeting today.
Carter, could you clarify when you said housing in this district, were you talking specifically about housing in community district 2?
No,
or were you talking about in the
this
meatpacking
zoning
district?
in this
Oh, in the
specific
zoning district. Okay, thank you.
Which is why they're before us to seek a variance. And what it also speaks to in the resolution is that the other project has not gone through and been approved. None of this has been discussed, et cetera. So that's speculation on whatever it might be, but as it stands today, housing is not an allowed use, and that's part of the reason that for this project that they are seeking a variance. Otherwise, they wouldn't need to seek a variance.
If there's no one else, no one else has, I see that.
Okay,
I do
thank
see
you.
that. Thank you. Is there anyone else who hasn't spoken yet? Otherwise, I'm going to go on Arturo.
Not sure why my previous comments counted. I was just saying that I wasn't responding to Rocio. So I guess first I agree with Janet and Ryder that there are existing residences, and I do believe the Gansevoort Tower will be making this a residential area. Also, at our committee meeting, I communicated to the chair and vice chair that I would have preferred us to lean not so heavily in anti-housing language. If 3A would have been included in our language at the committee, then I would have voted no against this. So I have an amendment. I will move to amend this resolution to strike clause 3A.
So, excuse me, so we have an amendment on the floor. So could we, if you could just slow down and repeat it so that way we can get the secretary and the assistant secretary to understand what part we're talking about, and that way everyone else can see that. So can you repeat that just a little bit slower for me?
Yes, of course. I move to strike clause 3A from the Little West 12th Street resolution.
Now, I see on page 2 of the land use housing, there's a whereas, that's number 3, but I don't see an A.
In the therefore clause.
Okay, so just so we know what is before us, on the floor is a motion. Arturo has made a motion to strike 3A. Is that correct?
Correct.
Under neighborhood 3, neighborhood character, the committee finds that the applicant did not analyze the neighborhood correctly. This area is a commercial area, not a residential area. Introducing housing breaks the character of the existing neighborhood. So that is the amendment that is before us that Arturo has proposed to be struck from the resolution as presented. Is there a second for this amendment? So we have a second from Eddie Siegel. Thank you. And so now we can open up the floor. Would anyone like to discuss this amendment.
So
Okay, or Katie, did you want to say something before, or would
could-
you?
I'm trying to understand.
Sure.
How, what the objection to. This is an M zone, residential is not allowed. We have maybe 3 units. So how does, what's wrong with 3A? This seems like a statement of fact. This is not a residential zone. There's nobody
And to
living there.
clarify that you're saying that this area that we're talking about, just so we get clarification, I just want to clarify that the zoning district that this project is located in is M15, and M15 means what? Specifically, so that way people know.
The residential-
Manufacturing district, is that right?
Light manufacturing.
Light manufacturing, okay.
Which has many, we're with different definitions.
Okay, I was just wanting to make sure everyone understood that clarification. So I see Eddie has a question,
All right.
or you wanted a comment. I'm so sorry. You want to say something.
That's right.
Is that clear? Okay.
So I'm in I think neighborhood character and these, usages in law is purposefully vague and in the eye of the beholder. I do not think it is just literally does the conform the use of the zoning, or else our variances would almost always run up against this and not get approved. I think the neighborhood character is not affected by the addition of the, 20-odd people that would live in this building. And it is very close to a large number of apartments just south of it. I realize there's not much on that block or to the north of it, but there's plenty nearby. There will be even more soon with the meat market developments. And so
There are no developments in the meat market. What developments in the meat market?
a project. And so I would just say that, when I think of neighborhood character, I think of the people that live in those neighborhoods. And so I don't, the arguments around it's an M15 district and thus it breaks the neighborhood character, it's not compelling to me because I don't think the commercial businesses on that block will be disrupted by their new neighbors. I don't think the manufacturing businesses that may still be there are going to be disrupted by their new neighbors. And I think they would be happy to live in that. So for the purposes of this amendment, I am fully supportive of it.
Katie, could you clarify? He mentioned that there's housing just south of it, you said? Is that in the meatpacking district?
Are the direct lines of the neighborhood? But I believe within like 2 blocks south of this, there's all of the apartments,
Okay, so not
whether
in
it's
the
West Village or the literal
okay.
lines of the meatpacking.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Katie.
It's south of Gansevoort Street is the former refrigeration, the former refrigeration building, Gansevoort, Washington, West, and I don't know, Horatio, I guess.
Okay.
But-
I think that's helpful
Yeah,
to
but I
clarify
mean,
for a lot of people.
There's a
Wonderful.
large, huge museum, and it's getting
Mhm.
bigger. And we have not yet dealt with what's going to happen on that block, the museum block, the former,
So it'll go
the
formally
last
through the
vestige of the meat market.
Yeah, it'll go formally through the ULERT process for that, right?
Yep.
The right time. Are there any other anyone would like to speak on this? And
Yes.
speaking specifically to the amendment, right?
Yes. I mean, why couldn't we just say something like, just state again factually, this is an M15 zoning district and thus is currently not a residential area, rather than having sort of a more opinion statement saying that it breaks the character?
So,
Why couldn't
Will,
we
it
just
sounds
have-
like, are you proposing an additional amendment? We will have to.
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to amend an amendment.
We'll
but
have
it's
to
just-
vote on, we'll have to vote on this one, and then we can definitely entertain that.
Yeah, I'm not proposing anything right now, but it's
Okay.
food for thought.
Could he repeat it just so that I could?
Sure, could you repeat that one more time, Will?
I was just saying, couldn't 3A be changed to just say something factual like, this is located in an M15 district, therefore is currently not a residential area, rather than including the last sentence, which seems a little bit more of an opinion statement that it breaks the character. Yeah, you could just scratch the last sentence.
Okay, so there's some food for thought there that we do have this amendment on the floor, which is to strike the entire 3A under the therefore be it resolved on page 3 of the land use and housing. Are there any additional discussion or points people want to make? Yeah, could we get Sean a microphone? I unfortunately try not to hand mine off.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the language of that code uses the word character. Do you know? I think it does.
Oh, the zoning.
And by the way, the character of the neighborhood, when I recall, it was meat markets, discos, and sex clubs. And then it became commercial, and I know about all 5 people who live there. One of them is called Michael Bloomberg, not the mayor. So it was notably not a residential district.
Thank you so much, Sean. So I've not heard, so if we could call on Zachary Kazaz, we could get a microphone to Zachary Kazaz.
Thank you. Just to actually build off that last point, I think because we know Gansevoort Square is happening in some form, we're doing a disservice by not recognizing that it is no longer going to be just commercial and the character is changing. Whether we approve, like regardless of what our opinions are of that development, and so I think, in support of kind of what Eddie and Arturo said, it does make sense to probably soften that language a bit because it is becoming a residential neighborhood and the character is going to change, just like, if someone were proposing to put a sketchy club on West 12th Street, we might say that's not in the right character, but it was a character of a time. So I think it's important to keep that transition in mind.
Well, am I allowed to make a comment?
Of course.
Chair? I think I would say, I know we have something before us, but I would say, I like what Will said, just take out the last sentence because we don't know what's going to happen and we don't know what we're going to want. I'm very much a pro-housing advocate, but the development on the meat packing block is nowhere near done. So we don't really know. That's the future. We can only, I think, talk about what we know is true and factual. And if that thing implodes, because God knows what's going to happen in our country, but if that thing implodes, we're going to be left with, what we're deciding tonight on the north side. So we should think about the north side and what we want it to look like for the present. And we are all going to be involved in the south side. Absolutely.
Okay, I see Nina Chen and then Mar, haven't heard from, so Nina and then Mar.
Yeah, I also support taking out last sentence and just, again,
We get
2
Mara
blocks south.
Sorry, if we could get Mara a microphone while we're waiting. Continue, Nina, thank you.
Hello? Yeah. 2 blocks south of the building, there is a big apartment building, and then 4 blocks south, there's another big one. So I think if you think about neighborhood, I don't think people consider based on the zoning per se, but really how people think about neighborhood.
I know, but there are regulations and we're trying to follow them.
Okay. Mar?
Thanks. So I've heard the residents that live immediately south of this property are, should be considered. I've heard, things are going to change anyway, so why not let it happen? We don't know that. That is not factual, as Katie just pointed out. But if it's not allowed, it's not allowed. And more often than not, character is cited in zoning. And so I say, if it is, when we look it up, character is referenced, we leave it in. I love the resolution as it is, and I commend the committee on doing a great job. Yeah, that's it. I think that I would definitely vote no on this amendment.
You would vote no? Is that what you said?
On the amendment.
On the amendment, right, on the amendment. Sorry, I was getting confused. I was getting confused. So, Ryder?
Thanks. I think the amendment makes sense. I think comporting with neighborhood character as a consideration for a variance can't mean consistent with the existing zoning, or else it would be impossible to qualify for a variance. So neighborhood character has to mean something a little bit more capacious and nuanced. And in this case, I think the points folks are making about like this area, there are plenty of residential buildings, plenty of people live around here. I consider this, in my neighborhood, I live on 11th Street. I'm not in this exact zoning block, but I think the idea that the neighborhood character of this area precludes residential doesn't seem right to me. So I think it's a good amendment. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? Okay, Carter, can we get a microphone to Carter?
Okay, so working one. I was going to say that just speaking to what Sean was saying, I mean, there's specific findings. And if you go to Zola, I mean, I can tell people would like to see what their feelings are put forward in this, but the city evaluates these in a particular way, and it goes to the zoning code. The zoning, it even takes into account if it's close to something that the zoning code can change. The point is here is that this is not the appropriate way, and nobody's talking about this as a good project, mind you, right? So the argument that we're doing is undermining what the board's position is, which is against this. And what we're trying to do is to say, oh, but housing's so important that this bad project, we want to take out this language. But the point is, this isn't the right way to go about getting more housing. It's a bad project. Nobody's talked about changing the outcome of this resolution. And the fact of the matter is, if you go to Zola or anywhere else, this is a manufacturing district. If housing were allowed, there wouldn't be a variance. This application wouldn't be here. And neighborhood character does go into account in all of any type of variance. And when you're looking here, if you actually look at the zoning map, this is not on an edge. This is in a whole area. And even with the changes being presented by the city for Gansevoort Square, they don't even address this area for housing. So if we want to see an appropriate change, we should put that forward and go about it that way. But to undermine this application and weaken it when we're against it anyway doesn't make any sense. And I also think that there are some other nuanced, smaller reasons that came up during the committee discussion about why people were against this specific project. And just to go back to 3A, it's true, the committee found the applicant did not analyze the neighborhood correctly. I mean, that's just fact. And I think that we're trying to make this into something else that it's not, and fight some other larger battle when everybody's against the project. And the character that's used in the context of this discussion is what's outlined in zoning regulations for variances. And I'm just sort of befuddled why we're getting caught up on this one sentence, because it seems to be a little bit more ideological as opposed to this project. And the right way to approach that is to ask for this area to be properly investigated, to get the outcomes of housing that we would like to see throughout this area so that it could all be developed together for housing. But again, nobody spoke in support of this project that I'm aware of, except for the applicant.
And when you say nobody, you mean nobody on the committee and nobody from the public? Okay. And Katie, could you remind us how many meetings this project was across?
This project took two meetings.
One in August and one in September, correct?
Yes.
They
and
came back.
We indicated some of our concerns and objections in August, and they were really not, they were not addressed to our satisfaction in September.
Okay, so I'm going to call on Susan Gammy, and then I think Sean had his hand up afterwards. So Susan hasn't spoken yet, so then.
Okay, I would just like to read the exact language on the New York City website regarding the findings. Here it is. C, that the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district in which the zoning lot is located. I think we can all agree that we're all in favor of as much affordable housing and indeed as much housing as is possible. That does not change the location of where this particular lot is. So while I am totally sympathetic with the issue of housing and affordable housing, I have to return to the point that Carter made, that one individual instance like this is not where the battle is to be fought. It is to be fought in terms of changing the entire zoning here, not just one little issue where, this lot is where it is. It is zoned a certain way with certain rules. So I think that this is a matter of fact, not of interpretation. Having said that, I will also say that the last sentence creates an appearance of insensitivity towards the need for housing in this community. So while I personally am not in favor of Arturo's entire amendment, I would be in favor of, say, what Will and somebody else has suggested, which is just removing that last sentence in order to not inadvertently create a "we're not for housing" kind of a situation for people who are not familiar with the specificity of this language. I yield.
Thank you, Susan. Sean, we haven't heard from you on the amendment yet. Okay, so you're saying that it says essential neighborhood character in the zoning text regarding M15. Okay, so I see Shirley. We haven't heard from Shirley on the amendment. Could we get a microphone to Shirley? Great.
Yeah, I have a question actually, and you may have answered it maybe. How large a district does the particular current zoning cover, the M zoning? What are the boundaries?
I don't have the zoning map in front of me, but I do believe, and I stand to be corrected, 14th Street over to maybe Hudson Street, down to Gansevoort, and then over to the river, over to West Street. Is that
fairly
correct,
large
Carter?
chunk.
Tell me. Yeah, that was just from memory.
Zola, which is the New York City's zoning and land use map, has the northern boundary, and it's a little zigzag, but the predominant northern boundary is 16th Street, and the predominant eastern boundary is Washington. Oh, no, excuse me, not Washington. It's at Hudson, I guess. And it goes along 9th Avenue, but it actually it's not clean, but it's fairly large, and then it goes down to the midpoint of Gansevoort Street, between Gansevoort and Ratio.
Okay,
it seems
great.
like a fairly sizable area. So my comment would be, I think I heard also that Katie had said that there was some talk of consideration of discussion of changing the zoning.
In a small area on the west side.
Oh, just a small area.
It's really the block on which the museum now stands, and where the remaining piece of the meat market. And that's in some ways our committee would like them to enlarge that a bit so that we could get a little bit more housing than is a different kind of housing than is being suggested on the meat market site. But we're not there yet, and
but that's the position of the board.
It's not. Yeah, the committee has just discussed this. It's not a position because we're not there yet. Still in discussion, and this piece might be included in that or not. But right now, this is a variance from the prevailing zoning. And one of the things about getting a zoning variance is it has to be minimal. And one of the things that we're trying to do in this resolution is show that this is not minimal. This is not a minimal request. And we asked them to come back and try to make it minimal, and we did not get that response from them.
Great, thank you. Thanks. Arturo? If we could get Arturo a microphone, then we can continue with the business.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify that I think we can still be opposed to this project while also communicating in our resolutions that we support opportunities for housing where possible and relevant. So I think that's what this amendment tries to do.
Okay, so is there any further comments on the amendment which is on the floor? We do have an amendment on the floor for resolution number 1. As a reminder, that is number 3 under the therefore be it resolved neighborhood character, and is to delete 3A, which says that the committee finds that the applicant did not analyze the neighborhood correctly. This area is a commercial area, not a residential area. Introducing housing breaks the character of the existing neighborhood. That is what is on the floor to amend, which is to strike that entire paragraph. So is there any unwillingness to vote on the amendment?
Could I make one more comment?
So there is some unwillingness to
Because
vote.
there
Yes,
is
you
an
can sure you may continue. Sure.
Because I do believe that Will Benesh has given us a way out, or a way to improve 3A, and that's by just taking out the last sentence. Because the committee did find that the applicant's analysis was not correct, and in my opinion, that's what the committee found. And the area is a commercial area. That's a factor. It's not a residential area today. So I'm happy with dropping the last sentence, but I think the other 2 sentences, in my opinion, should stand.
Okay, thank you. So is there any unwillingness to vote on, so to confirm, it sounds like there's some confusion maybe as to what's on the floor. We have an amendment on the floor, 3A, page 3 of the Land Use and Housing Report for September. 3A, the committee finds that the applicant did not analyze the neighborhood correctly. It would be deleting that sentence. It would be deleting this area as a commercial area, not a residential area. It'd be deleting that sentence. But also then delete the 3rd sentence, which would introducing housing breaks the character of the existing neighborhood. So that is the amendment on the floor, which is to strike those 3 sentences of 3A, neighborhood character, under the therefore be it resolved on page 3 of the Land Use and Housing. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this amendment? All those in favor? So it sounds like we probably need to take those votes. So if you could please raise your hand if all those in favor of the amendment. So if you're in favor, we are voting on the amendment. So the amendment, as I've repeated a couple of times, is to delete 3A. I won't read it again. Page 3 of the land use report. So if you are in favor of the amendment, it would be deleting that text I've read a couple times. So if you could keep your hand raised, Emma will call out your name once she takes your vote. So a vote in favor is to delete the language.
Thank you so much.
Again, online as well, we do have, I think, 2 people who,
okay,
a few people that can vote online. So I see Janet has her hand raised on Zoom, voting in favor of the amendment as presented.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call out names, and then folks can put their hands down. Janet, I do have you. Matt, I have you.
Just so it's clear, there's only one amendment on the floor. I'm just now seeing the chat. I can't always check the chat, so if someone could help me out with that would be helpful.
Paul, I've got you as well. Thank you. You can put your hand down. Arturo, I have you. You may put your hand down. Ben, I have you. You may put your hand down. Eddie, you can put your hand down. Rich, you can put your hand down. Rocio, thank you. Shirley. Nina. Oh, thank you, Ryder, for moving over. You can put your hand down too. I got you, Rocio. You can put your hand down. Thank you. Zach, in the corner, I've got you. And I am also including myself in this vote. Anybody else whose hands are still up that I did not call?
Voting in favor of the amendment, which is to strike 3A from the therefore be it resolved in land use resolution number 1.
And that is 13 votes in support of the amendment.
Okay, so we've not taken the other votes yet.
Or
So we haven't done no votes yet. I've only done all in favor.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, so all in favor of
Who
taking
would know?
those. So all those opposed to the amendment as presented, which is to strike 3A.
Cormac, you can put your hand down.
So if you are opposed to the removal of 3A from land use resolution number 1,
Yeah.
that is the amendment. We're
Okay.
voting on the amendment.
Cormac, you can put your hand down. You did already. DJ, you may put your hand down. Susan, you can put your hand down. Oh, excuse me. Susan Kent, thank you for clarifying. Actually, all 3 Susans may put their hands down. Susan Gammy, Susan Wittenberg. Yeah. Susan Wittenberg, okay. Patricia. Dr. Smith. Thank you, Janine. Amy, I've got you. JJ, you're good to go down. Carter. Lois, thank you for your patience. Sean also. Katie. Valerie. And Brian.
And Chenault on Zoom.
Thank you. Yep, I
Chenault
go
on
up on the
Zoom.
screen last.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Just for.
And online?
Yep, online I have Frederica and
Okay,
Chenault, I
so
have both of you.
Will, do you have your hand raised or?
Will, I didn't, thank you. You are right in my blind spot. Okay.
And you got people online?
I got everyone online. This does not
Okay.
pass. Yeah.
Okay, could you read out that number?
I will. One moment.
Thank you. And then I will ask for abstentions and recusals. I'm sorry, did you have a question? Okay. So we're still in the middle of voting for the amendment.
Okay.
I still have to do
So-
abstentions and recusals,
Yep.
but are there any abstentions and recusals? And we'll get the vote for everything. Any abstentions or recusals on the amendment as presented on land use reso number 1, 3A, deleting it?
Lauren,
None,
did you
seeing
get your
none.
vote? Yeah. Okay, thank you. That gives us a closer number. There we go. That's 20 against and 13 for.
Okay, and 0 abstentions and 0
Zero
recusals?
abstentions, 0 recusals.
Okay, so the amendment does not pass, so it means it is still in the text. So I see Will Banesh has his hand up. Could we get Will a microphone? Then we can move the business along. So could we get Will a microphone?
Okay, I was going to just propose an amendment. Hopefully, we've already debated everything, that the last sentence of 3A be removed.
So there is an amendment on the floor to delete the last sentence of 3A under the therefore be it resolved land use resolution number 1, page 3. So that sentence, which is the proposed amendment is regarding, is to delete the line introducing housing breaks the character of the existing neighborhood. Is that correct, Will?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have that amendment on the floor. Is there a second? So I have a second from Susan Kent. So now, is there any, would anyone like to talk about the amendment that Will has presented? Is there anyone in the room who would like to talk about that or on Zoom? So I'm not seeing any. Is there any unwillingness to vote on the amendment that Will has presented, which is on 3A on the first resolution for land use to delete the line introducing housing breaks the character of the existing neighborhood? I'm not seeing any unwillingness to vote, so all those in favor for the amendment to delete the last line. Okay, so we had aye. Are there any, well, let me just see if there's any opposed to the amendment as presented. We do have some opposed, so let's take the names for the amendment.
If folks oppose.
Yeah, so if you are in favor, let's take the names, so we can just make sure we get that vote, and then we'll
Okay,
call
this
on
is
the other.
that's close to from the
Yeah,
volume.
I guess we could do a roll call
We can
vote
do
for
a roll
this.
call, but
Yeah,
we can
let's.
also count the
Yeah, we can count them.
oppositions.
It's okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Folks opposed,
So if
can you
you're
please keep your
opposed
hands
to
up?
this amendment,
Thank you so much. If you're opposed to the second amendment that Will made, which is to remove the final sentence. Okay, beautiful. Thanks, folks.
so did you get everyone? There's hands that like are coming up.
No,
in
yeah,
the
I'm
back.
gonna call folks to put their hands down when we're good. So
Okay.
hands up until I've called your name.
Oh.
Everyone's doing a good job. All right, JJ, you can put your hand down. Thank you, Carter. You can put your hand down. Mara, I've got you. You can put your hand down. Susan W. Thank you. Valerie, I have you.
Thank you.
Katie, I've got you as well. Sean. Rocio. Cormac.
Chanel has.
Hidden. There we go. Anyone hidden in the room, though? Okay. And Chenault, I've got you. Thank you. That's 10 votes in opposition. Do we
Okay.
want to proceed to abstentions and recusals?
Are there any abstentions or recusals? It's still not clear to me how many people voted in favor of it. So maybe we can get those hands or.
We have.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll back
Okay,
into
great.
it. Yeah, I will do the math. There are 34 folks present. I think Keen has left, unless I have missed her. And that means that we have 14 in opposition, and the rest 24 would be in approval because there were no abstentions or recusals.
Okay.
I am going to put that in to have the formal
Okay.
tallies for everyone, but
Great.
that's the
So it
preliminary.
sounds like that amendment passes.
Yeah, that's why I have to put them in for the official.
Could we,
That's-
could we just get those
If I-
hands raised
yeah.
if you're voting in favor of the amendment as presented by Will, so we can just get
Valerie,
this,
can we
move
just
this
do a roll
forward.
call? Do you
Yeah, that's
mind?
fine, that's
Thank you so
fine.
much.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Roll call vote on the second amendment, removing the last sentence as proposed by Will. Will?
Yes.
Thank you. Keen is no longer here. Carter Booth? No. Okay. Katie Bordenaro? No. Amy Brenna? Yes. Rich Cacapolo? Yes. Nina Chen? Yes. Bella De La Rosa, pardon me?
No.
No. Arturo Fernandez? Yes. Mar Fitzgerald? No. Cormac Flynn? No. Susan Gammy? Yes. JJ Herrera? No. GJ Jane? Yes. Zachary Kazaz? Yes. Susan Kent? Yes. Ryder Kessler? Yes. Janine Kiley? Yes. Patricia Laria? Yes. Janet Liff?
Yes.
Yes. Benjamin Listman? Yes. Paul McDade? Yes. Brian Pape? Yes. Matthew Pereira? Yes. Lois Rakoff? Yes. Rocio Sands? Yes. Shirley Secunda? Yes. Edward Siegel? Yes. Frederica Siegel?
Yes.
Yes. Emma Smith? Yes. Dr. Shirley Smith? Yes. Chenault Spence? Chenault, I had you as a no before, is that right?
No.
Thank you. No, thank you. Susan Wittenberg? Yes. The final votes, that's 26 yes, that's 7 no. That is, our check is 33 because Keen has left.
Okay, so it sounds like that amendment passes as presented. So please, from the record, strike out the last sentence of 3A, introducing housing breaks the character of the existing neighborhood. So now we still have land use resolution number 1 on the table. So is there any other discussion? Would people like to talk about this resolution any more this evening in the room or on Zoom as amended, Is there any unwillingness to vote on land use resolution number 1 as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have 1 opposed. Abstentions, recusals. So I see we have some abstentions in the back, Emma.
Great. I'll call out the names.
Okay.
Eddie, I've got you. Ryder? Anyone else in that quadrant that I can't see? I got you for no. Thanks, Mark.
Emma
And I am
checks
also
after.
abstaining.
And I'm abstaining.
Thank you, Janet. I've got you abstaining.
Great. So land use resolution number 1 passes as amended. Next, we have land use resolution number 2, if you can believe it. Would anyone like to talk about land use resolution number 2? Okay, I see Rocio has her hand raised, so we will go to Rocio. And, if you would like to talk about it, you think you might, maybe find a microphone, and then I can call on you next, okay? Rocio.
So number 2, resolution on 126 Lafayette Street. The resolution reads, therefore be resolved that, go to number 4, all electric building. The committee commends the applicant for providing an all-electric building with sub-metering, which is more affordable and climate-conscious way to provide electricity. My question to you is, where is the infrastructure for promoting buildings should be all electric? Have they done any work to make sure that when the lights go out, the lights are going to go out, not just, you can't even cook, you can't even do. I understand, but there has to be something beyond just promoting something that we don't have the infrastructure prepared to deal with all the buildings going towards electric. That's one comment, and then I have other things to say. If you'd like to address my comment now, I will continue to number 8, if it's okay.
I live in an all-electric building, which is sub-metered, and I just from personal experience, it's eye-opening. Even my heat is electric. I mean, all electric. 10% of the users use most of the electricity. Use a greater percentage for whatever reasons, and maybe they're perfectly understandable. They have equipment they need for their health or whatever. But when you're paying for what you use, you actually become more conservative. You do more about conservation, and I've done that in my own home.
I'm speaking about in general.
So,
making
Rocio,
buildings.
if you could have all of your comments so we can continue the discussion, and then, I really can't have it be a back and forth.
Continue to my comments?
If you could just finish through your comments, and that way we can move this along.
Okay, the next comment that I like to is number 2, item number 4. Criticizing the applicant for building 99 units and avoid the requirement of paying construction workers the prevailing wage is absurd. Don't spend other people's money. You have no idea.
Is there any additional comments you would like to make? Because we can't have it be a back and forth of Katie reacting to every single statement. So is there anything addition you would like to add? Say it again. Would you like to continue? Or I can't have a back and forth of responding to every single point. So if you could continue.
That is it for today.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on land use resolution number 2? Okay. Is there any unwillingness to vote on land use resolution number 2 as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And recusals? Okay, great. And that passes. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
So next we will go to street activities and resiliency. Will Vinesh will present their report.
Okay. 24 regular way rezos, 7 FY renewals, all unanimous. There's one recusal in there. I'll call it out. Number 1, Feast of San Gennaro. That was unanimous approved. I will note we have a pretty direct line with them this year for the first time, which has been helpful, and they agreed to do a debrief with us in the coming months. 2, September 12th to 15th, Tresemme event. That was unanimous approved. 3, September 12th to 14th, Omniverse X Calzedonia. That was approved. I mentioned they're all unanimous, so I won't say that every time. Number 4, Purple Brand Fashion Week. That was approved. Number 5, High Snobiety, New York. That was denial. Number 6, HM Soho Store Flower Cart. That was an approval. Number 7, Canada Goose Soho Beverage Cart. That was an approval. Number 8, Byredo Alto Astral Launch. That was a denial. And an additional, therefore, be it further resolved that if the event moves forward despite CB2's objections, should be designed to be less disruptive, including the DJ being moved inside. Number 9, Victor event, private event. That was an approval. Number 10, Jet Set Pilates Outdoor Workout. That was a denial. Number 11, Radical Optimism. That was an approval. Number 12, Anchor Soundcore, no show, deny. Number 13, Nick's Pop-Up. That was an approval. 14, 15, and 16, different iterations of Glass Truck. All 3 were approvals. 17, Volvo Street Fest. That was an approval. Number 18, Meatpacking Big Climate Week. That was a no-show deny. We've heard that's since been withdrawn. Number 19, Johnny Walker Hype Golf. That was a no-show deny with 1 recusal for Olson, where Johnny Walker parent company Diageo is a client. 20, JBL Store Party Box. That was an approve. 21, Neighborhood Block Party on Leroy Street. That was an approve. 22, Womb Wow Launch Event. No-show deny. 23, Maven Clinic Pop-Up Event. That was an approve. 24, Houseplant Shopify Pop-Up. That was a deny, no show. I do think they're going to come back next month, which all denials do have the opportunity to do. And 25 through 31 FYI renewals were approved.
Great. So we have street activities resolutions 1 through 24, and then 25 through 31 renewals. Would anyone like to talk about any of these? Can we vote on them in a block? I'm not seeing any hands in the room or on Zoom. So if there's no unwillingness to vote on street activities resolutions 1 through 24 and 25 through 31 FYI renewals, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, those pass. Next, we are going to go to Parks and Waterfront, I believe. Yes, so
Yes.
Rich, hi.
Thank you. This is a resolution in support of a temporary public art installation called Public Address by an artist named Alex Strada that will be installed in Lieutenant Petrosino Square. Therefore, be it resolved, the Community Board 2 Manhattan supports the temporary installation of Public Address by Alex Strada at Lieutenant Petrosino Square, applauds its mission to humanize and give voice to individuals experiencing homelessness, and recognizes its potential to re-engage the public with this important neighborhood park, and that CB2 urges New York City Parks and Department of Transportation to act on prior commitments regarding Petrosino Square's redesign, expansion, and long-term maintenance, including the provision of irrigation infrastructure and dedicated gardening staff so that the park can continue to serve as a vital site for public art and community gathering. And the vote was unanimous.
Thank you so much. I see we have a question from Chenault on Zoom. Chenault? Or a comment or?
Here's this, and it would be useful for something like this. to say where it is in the resolution.
I think it says it's, I think it says, you want maybe would you like an address maybe, or?
Just where is it?
Oh, Petrosino Square.
Yeah. Where is it? It's on Lafayette, between Prince. It's on Lafayette between Prince and Spring.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
There seems to be 3 different locations where this is. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So is there would anyone else like to talk about Parks Resolution number 1? Rich, thank you for your report. So if there's no further discussion, then I will ask if there's any unwillingness to vote on Parks and Waterfront Resolution number 1, art installation review of the sculpture by Alex Strada. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Parks Resolution number 1 passes. Next, we will go to SLA number 1, which report will be presented by Susan Wittenberg. Thank you.
Hi, we had a relatively short meeting this month, which was unusual. We had 15 applications and 6 decisions. The rest were layovers or withdrawals. All the decisions were unanimous. I can just quickly give you the addresses. Tartinery, 78 West 3rd Street, Roulon, 15 East 13th Street, Ramen Takumi, 1 University Street, Pearl Box and Heroes, 357 West Broadway, Selena by Kaima, 23-27 Grand, the Cafe Palermo, 148 Mulberry. They were all deny and less, unanimous votes. 7 to 15, sorry, are layovers or withdrawals. That's all. That's what we had this month. No controversy.
Okay, I see we have a question or a comment from Lois. Can we get a microphone? Excuse me, if we could get a microphone to Lois, because we can't hear online, and then people will ask what was said, and it takes twice as long.
Thank you.
So on Tartinery 2, instead of delete the Thompson Street between West 4th Street and Greenwich Avenue, and add Thompson Street between West 3rd and Bleecker Street.
Right, okay, thank you, Lois.
Okay, and then Rocio, can we get a microphone to Rocio?
On number 6, Joe Rack Inc., DBA, the Cafe Palermo, 148 Mulberry Street. Can you please explain to me, you might have said this before, or maybe I didn't get it or I didn't hear the answer. What does wave appearance mean?
When there's no issue with anything they presented or proposing, and it goes within all the guidelines, because we're getting so many applications, we don't make them come in to present. So we waive the appearance. When Donna feels that there's anything that we might need to have more discussion on, then they come in.
Okay, thank you. And then on number 2, oh, that was corrected. Number 3,
Takumi?
The hours of operation, it says 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. What happens here? Extending the hours to 11 p.m. closing? What happened to the 10 p.m. closing? Is this a new requirement that you have guys are turning a new leaf, or what's happening with these applications that you're allowing them to stay open till 11 when consistently for months it has been denied anyone that tries to open past 10 p.m. outside?
You're talking about Takumi at 1 University?
Number 3. Number 6. Still on number 6, the hours of operation for the number 3, whereas.
Wait, I'm sorry, Rosie, I don't know which restaurant you're talking about.
Sorry?
Which restaurant?
The one I'm talking about, the number 6 is Joel Rack, Inc., DBA Cafe Palermo. Item number, the whereas number 2, two eyes, and then number 3, the hours of operation of dining out NYC roadway seating.
Let me go back and get, it might have been what the hours were. You have it, Carter, okay, thanks.
Okay, Carter, you would like to speak? Can we get Carter a microphone? Once we get a microphone to the board member who would like to speak, we can continue moving business along.
I don't want to speak, I just want to answer the question so we can move along. It's because they previously had those hours of operation for the outside area. I said it's because they previously had those hours of operation for the outside area.
They weren't newly applying for the hours. And remember, everyone who gets the 10 o'clock, they come back for the 11. It just, we're trying to make sure it works with the neighborhood, the neighbors. So it's not like it's a permanent 10. It's just a courtesy, really, to have good relationships with the neighbors. No one's really been objecting to it. Thank you.
Thanks. So we have, excuse me, I started moving ahead. So we have SLA 1 items before us. 1 second. Oops. So we have SLA 1 items 1 through 6, and then 7 through 15, layovers, et cetera. Is there any further discussion? Would anyone like to talk about any of those further? Seeing none, is there any unwillingness to vote on SLA items 1 through 6 and 7 through 15, the layovers, et cetera? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, those pass as presented. So next we will have the SLA 2 report from Cormac.
Hello. You all have the resolution, so I don't know why you need me, but Donna gave me some notes. We had 27 applications on the docket for this month that, appeared on our docket. 15 of them were, decisions, right? So all except 2 were deny and less, which for people who are new means approved. It's not our language, it's the language the state tells us to use, right? So I'll go through them quickly. Number 1, Simo Pizza Hudson Square at 350 Hudson Street. This is a tavern wine. It's a previously unlicensed location. It was a unanimous deny and less. All of the votes were unanimous except for one that I will cite when we get there. Number 2 was Umi at 63, which is 63 Downing Street, a restaurant wine, also previously unlicensed. It was a deny and less. The 3 and 10 bar, doing business as a 3 and 10 bar, clever that, at 220 West Houston Street. And that's a restaurant, it's a on-premises license. That was a transfer application, like the place is already around. It was a deny and less, unanimous. Vivamo Partners, doing business as Bar V at 10 to 12 Morton Street, right? This is a restaurant. There was both a class change being requested and a change in the method of operation. This was a reconsideration. They had come before. They'd been denied. The full board denied them. They came back and were asking again. This was a vote to deny. This one was not unanimous. It was 5 in favor. 2 people were opposed. All right. Number 5 was Ma's Restaurant, doing business as Meme at 581 Hudson Street. This was an alteration to add sidewalk dining, or for their sidewalk dining. That was a deny and less, unanimous. Sliced West Village, right, doing business Slice the Perfect Food at 535 Hudson Street. Most people probably know this one. It's an alteration for the sidewalk, That was also unanimous, deny and less. W&J Cafe Inc., doing business as Cafe Luna at 628 Hudson Street. This was another alteration for sidewalk, again, deny and less, unanimous. At 68 Perry Street, Corp., doing business as Corner Bistro, right? This at 331 West 4th, most people probably know that. This was an alteration for their sidewalk. This one was denied because, unfortunately, it wasn't ADA compliant. The space that they had for the outdoor dining was just very narrow, like 1'10" something like that. It's not big enough for the ADA requirements. 1NK, doing business as Bizou, right? This was an alteration for their sidewalk. This was deny and less. It's interesting, the vote was unanimous, but not uncontroversial. The remaining, number 10, Greenwich BBQ, doing business as Marty Quinn's Barbecue, for corporate change. This appearance was waived. Again, as we mentioned before, we're trying to make it easier for people. They don't have to come in just to go through stuff that's everything's fine with, right? That was unanimous, deny and less. You will see they appear here twice, once for the corporate change, once for the sidewalk. That's numbers 10 and 11. Fiddlesticks at 54 to 58 Greenwich Avenue, also an alteration for the sidewalk, appearance waived, unanimous, deny and less. Serafina Meatpacking at 7 9th Avenue, which was an alteration to facilitate the Department of Transportation's Open Streets program. The appearance was also waived. It was denied unless unanimous. 18 Greenwich Avenue, doing business as Rosemary's. I think everybody knows this, Rosemary's. That was also an alteration to a sidewalk. The appearance is waived. We talked to them before. Everything is fine. It was denied unless unanimous. And finally, 115 Christopher Street Restaurant Group, which was doing business as Christopher Street Hospitality, I think. I don't know. At 115 Christopher Street, this is an OP for a tavern, an on-premises for a tavern, and the appearance is waived, and that was unanimous. This is just a re-notification, right? In other words, they just changed the name of the LLC, so they had to come back and redo the paperwork, right? So, items 16 to 27 were all either laid over or withdrawn at the request of the applicant. So that's what's going on.
Would anyone like to discuss any of those items? I see Rocio has her hand up. We can get Rocio a microphone, then we can move the business along.
Okay, SLA number 2, item number 3, the 3 and 10 bar at 220 West Houston Street. 3 Little Eyes. The operation is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sundays, 10 to 2 a.m. Monday through Wednesdays, 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. Thursday through Saturday. Since when is CB2 allowing such late hours? What qualifies this application to have such late hours? Have you turned a new leaf?
Well, I don't know about turning a new leaf. My old leaf is so good, I don't think I need to. They've been operating for years with roughly the similar method of operation, including the hours, I believe. And I think that was the issue. It was like, this was not a change or request for new or more aggressive hours.
Those same hours?
Those have been the hours, is I think what I believe, but any member of the committee who's here who knows better can correct me. So,
Would anyone else
none.
like to speak regarding this resolution or any other SLA resolutions? Katie, would you like to say something? Could we get Katie a microphone, then we can move the business along? And then I see Ryder has his hand up.
Do I remember this discussion correctly? They wanted 4 a.m. We said can't come in after 3. They've had this license for a long time, and they had negotiated with the neighbors. Am I recalling that correctly? They had negotiated with the block association. Does that sound right to you?
And sorry, could you clarify? We haven't called this one out, so do we want to continue having discussion? We could vote on the other ones and then continue this discussion, so we could move this along.
Yeah, I also want to correct something I said, though. I'm not sure that what I said before was correct. I thought that they had previously had licenses location. I'm not sure that is correct, actually, so.
So would we
They
like
did,
to, so
okay.
we're continuing to have a discussion on this just one resolution. So could you clarify for me which resolution we're speaking
Yeah.
to?
This is resolution number 3.
So this is resolution number 3 on SLA 2. So would we like to call this one out and maybe vote on the other resolution so we could move this along? Okay, so we want to call out, do we have, someone would like to call out number 3? So let's call it out and let's vote on the rest and we'll come back to this one. Does that sound good? Oh,
I wanna call out number
you want to
4.
talk about number 3? You want to call out number 4?
Correct.
So we're calling out number 3 and number 4, and we'll vote on then SLA 2 items 1 through 2, 5 through 15, and then the 16 to 27 layovers, et cetera. So if there's no unwillingness to vote on SLA items 1 through 2, 5 through 15, and the 16 through 27 that are the layovers, et cetera, withdrawn. If there's no unwillingness to vote, all those in favor on SLA 2 items 1 through 2, 5 through 15, and 16 through 27.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Okay, let's continue the discussion on item number 3, resolution number 3 on SLA 2. So Ryder, you wanted to speak about resolution 4 or
Correct.
resolution 3?
4.
Resolution 4. Okay, so Rocio, are you talking about resolution 3?
Number 3, yes, go back. So your explanation that because those were the hours that they had, because they've been in business for a long time, that qualifies them. So my question to you is, so if a restaurant is in business for 55 years, would your committee offer them the same courtesy?
Every application is different, having to do with this location and the context and how the neighborhood may have changed, anything like this. In this case, these are people who, they have had it longer. Incorporating the stipulations was a stipulation agreement that they made with the West Houston Street Block Association. So the neighbors work with them and endorse this package of hours. That was a consideration. The fact also, as I said, every location is different. The location matters, like at West Houston Street, right? It may not be the same as if it's on, on a different street, because it'll have to do with what else is on that street. How many people live on that street? What's the character of the street? What are the other bars and restaurants on the street? What are the hours of them? And actually, we're actually legally not allowed to have like a kind of a thing like you just said, like a policy of whatever. We legally have to treat each application differently.
So
Okay.
what you said is a little bit different than what you explained now.
Rocio,
Thank you.
could you make all of your
Thank you.
points? Okay, I really want to stop the back and forth out of a courtesy for everyone's time. Now, is there any further comments or questions, discussion on SLA 2 resolution number 3? Is there any unwillingness to vote on SLA 2 resolution number 3? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, that passes. So next we have SLA 2 resolution number 4. Would anyone like to talk about SLA 2 resolution number 4? Ryder?
Yes, I called it out. So I saw that there were 2 no votes at the committee level, so I asked Erica what the rationale was for her no vote. And she...
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. There was other talking, so I couldn't
Oh,
hear
not
you.
about my
so
mic.
I
Okay.
probably, if I couldn't hear you, I bet
I
there's
see, sorry.
others
I
that
thought
couldn't
it
hear
might
you.
be a mic issue. I saw there were 2 no votes at the committee level, so I asked Erica, who's not here tonight, what the rationale was for the no vote, and she said that this is a very good operator, that a lot of community members came to speak about how this is a really good owner at Bar V, and he's very involved in the community, that they have birthday parties for neighborhood kids. This is the place where folks leave their keys to be picked up by their friends, and that this is the kind of operator we should be rewarding when they seek to go from a restaurant wine to an OP. So I just thought that would be useful context, given that context that this is the kind of operator who should be rewarded, I'm planning to vote against the denial. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryder. Would anyone else like to speak regarding this resolution? Lois, could we get Lois a microphone?
On that point, Brian, I noticed that you opposed and you want to, I mean, what he was talking about is what he interprets of what Olson said, but you're here, so could you please speak for yourself?
Okay. Yeah, Ryder, why didn't you call me? That's what I want to know. Yeah, but same reasons
You
that
can't hear clearly.
same reasons that Erica would have given, or had she been here. There were several testimonials from the neighbors that these people were operating in a lot of respect for the neighborhood, and they did give up their outdoor seating, which was a deal breaker when they first applied. So you might have noticed this was a reapplication or revisited. So with that, all those considerations, we felt that they would be good operators for the neighbors.
Okay, is there any other further discussion on land use resolutions? I see Dr. Smith has her hand raised. I mean, not land use, SLA too.
As a committee member, also too, in essence, what Brian said and Erica. In essence, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
In essence, in what Brian said and what Ryder said, the members of the community also said that this was an establishment that during COVID fed also a lot of people.
Okay, is
For
there
free.
any further? Okay, I see Carter Booth. Oh, I see Mar Fitzgerald as well. So could we get microphones, then we can move the business along? And I see Katie has her hand raised. So whoever, could we call Carter and then Mar and then Katie?
Is this working? All right, I just want to point out, they just opened, so they couldn't have fed anybody during COVID. And that was part of what the residents had said. They made an agreement with the residents on the block, in the building. If you'll note there, we had signatures from half the people in the existing building. Somebody had testified previously that they lived in the building, which was false testimony. They didn't actually live above the place. And I can turn up the microphone. The issue was they just opened, and now their name, which is bar, they said they were going to be a wine bar with food, and they're slowly deviating from that. And if they had wanted a place that is what they seem to envision, they should have rented one of the locations on an avenue in the area where you have noise. This is not a referendum on anything else other than this is an old tenement building. They were just here to get this license. It seems to be that things aren't working. To speak to the outdoor, it wouldn't have been approved. Just to what Brian had said, it was never really viable or up for consideration. And I think that the block itself, the owner lives next door to this location, and the fact that 14 people in the existing building, I think it was 14 or 16, had signed a petition against this and spoke very strongly against it, sort of speaks to the issues here. I think that if this is something that came down the line when the place is established and how it operates, there may be room for different discussion, but at this point, they just opened, and I think, Cormac, you'd spoken during the meeting about that as well. They know what they signed up for, they signed the lease, they knew what the lease escalations were, they knew their business model, they're experienced operators, they have other restaurants. So to have this dramatic a change, I think is indicative of some other issues which we were concerned about, which is the deviation to what their name says, which is just a regular bar.
Could you clarify, are you saying that they were not open during COVID?
They just came to us
They've been open about 15, 16 months.
No, they've been open less than a year.
Yeah.
I think they
Oh,
opened.
but somebody said that they fed people during COVID. I'm confused. Okay.
So these are the same people that own Entwine on Washington, and they did feed people during COVID. So I will say that. But this is a really low impact establishment. I frequent it often. They do have a lot of food. My daughter's favorite burger and fries. So the thought that they're transitioning to a bar, it is a sit-down place. It's a quiet date place. It is not a loud place. These are conscientious operators. This is what we want in our neighborhoods. Dear friend of mine lives upstairs. We ate there beginning of the summer. She is there all the time, and she's a working grown woman. This is not a place with kids. It's not rowdy. So, you know, it's what we want. It's the kind of establishment we want. It's the kind of operator we want. And they're very receptive to community. Very. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. Is there any additional? Oh, Katie, you had your hand raised. Is that correct?
I just bring the everyone's attention to the top of page 7 in the SLA2 document. 14 residents of the tenement building signed a petition in opposition. 4 local block associations representing a large number of residents in the surrounding buildings appeared in opposition. The condo association of the building across the street is in opposition. So I understand what Mar said, but we had such overwhelming community outpouring that it swayed the committee.
Okay, is there any other comments? Oh, Cormac?
Yeah, so, I mean, I won't, you know, be arrogant enough to try to speak for the majority. I think I can only tell you part of what my reasoning was, right? Is that these are operators that come before, as Carter said, they haven't been open even a year, originally with this plan for a bigger operation about, right? And the community was very much concerned and very much against it, and they negotiated and they got the operation that they have now. That many people, including many of the people who were there vehemently in opposition, agreed. They like what it is now. They don't like what they were talking about doing and changing. They've come back now less than a year later, and they're asking for the same thing. And one of the things we ask is, okay, so if this was the decision a year ago, what's changed in the context? What's changed in this block? What's changed? You know, sometimes people come back, because, you know, people can come back anytime they want, right? And they'll come back and it's like, well, the whole neighborhood's changed, the whole thing has changed. Or they'll come back and they'll be like, you know, the neighborhood, this is part of what Ryder was speaking to, you know, the neighborhood's all behind us, but that's not what we found here. Yes, they have fans. This often happens to us. They have fans, followers, people who love them. They also had overwhelming opposition, particularly among what we call the most immediately impacted, which is to say the people in the building, the people next door, the people across the street, not the people who live a block or so away and like to wander around to it. Not that their opinions are not taken into consideration, don't count, right? But you always want to weigh these sorts of things. There was a great deal of opposition. We hadn't seen that anything had really changed. There was a general feeling that people liked the way that it was, right? And, you know, my feeling is like, okay, go, you know, win over the community, like be this thing you're saying with this community that people come, leave keys, and when you come back and like, you don't have to have unanimity. There's always some crank or something, right? You know, but I'm looking for some level of consensus. But what I actually found was that by a large margin, the majority of the local people who live there very much against this idea. So that was part of what swayed my thinking as a committee member, I'm just saying.
Okay, is there any other further discussion? Carter, can we get a microphone to Carter and then we can continue moving this along?
Thanks. This is technical in nature. This doesn't look like it's actually the final reso, in that there's a whereas, which I think is not supposed to be in there, which is after the 5 and before the 6. And it also doesn't include comments on the location of the neighborhood church, which we discussed extensively at the committee level, that it was within 200 feet. So I just
So you're
I just
proposing
want
an
to.
amendment?
So I guess the amendment it would be to remove that whereas and to reinstate, and I don't know the language.
Well, what
reinstate-
number is it? Because there's a
It's not numbered.
whereas that's not numbered.
Yeah, it's the
It's not
unnumbered
numbered.
one, he said, between 5 and 6.
And
You're saying you're making an amendment, a motion to make an amendment to delete the whereas that does not
Right,
have
it's-
a Roman
it's-
numeral
it's-
next to it on page 7 of SLA 2 under resolution number 4.
Correct, and whereas they're just identifying that is it the neighborhood church, I forget the exact name, is at the end of this block and within 200 feet of the premises, and that the determination should be made by the state liquor authority whether or not the 200-foot rule applies.
So it sounds like you're making a motion to amend SLA resolution number 4 by striking the entire whereas that is not numbered on page 7 of the SLA 2 report, and adding, and if everyone's all right, we'll make this into one amendment of replacing it with the text you just mentioned. You'll provide that text.
Correct.
Like a
Okay, so
substitute amendment?
so that's what we have on the floor to delete. The whereas that is not numbered with a Roman numeral on page 7 of SLA 2, and to add in the language that Carter just stated. If everyone's all right, we can make that into one amendment to be voted on. Is there a second to that amendment? Okay, we have a second on the amendment from Susan Kent. So is there any further discussion on the amendment that was presented by Carter? I won't repeat it. Is there any unwillingness to vote on the amendment on resolution number 4 for SLA 2? All those in favor of the amendment proposed? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions or recusals? Okay, the amendment passes. So now we have resolution number 4 as amended on the floor. Is there any further discussion on resolution number 4 for SLA 2?
Yes, I have.
Okay, you would like
One-
to discuss it?
Yes, I'd like to propose an amendment to, on page 6, the whereas numeral 4, it says in the middle of the paragraph, and add sidewalk seating within a 2-foot area in front of the premises which is not ADA compliant. My understanding was they came to the meeting with that withdrawn, and that was not included. So I don't believe we are voting, we should be voting on still retaining sidewalk.
So what's the amendment that you're proposing, to
Amendment
delete a
is
line,
to
or?
delete that line.
So
A
what
point of
line number is
information.
that in the number 4, whereas on page 6, what line?
He's talking about the first sentence, but point of information, I believe it's referring to the previous application, right? Not to the instant one. Is that right?
This was referring to their previous
Right.
appearance before the community board in August,
Right.
not their current.
This is background context.
If you read the beginning of that, it says, whereas the applicant having appeared in October 2024 and in August 2025.
All right,
So
I accept
before
that.
I- so
I
bef-
accept-
And that was the description of what they were asking for
So
last month.
before I ask if
Yes.
there's a motion, a second for that amendment, would you like to withdraw your
With-
amendment?
Withdrawing that amendment, I am revising my amendment to say that the therefore be it resolved should delete the language and corresponding alteration to add outdoor seating.
So now there's you've withdrawn your previous amendment, so now you have a new amendment that you would like to delete on page 7 of the SLA 2 report under therefore be it resolved. Is that correct? You're saying to delete what phrase exactly?
The phrase
Corresponding?
is after the words restaurant liquor license, starting with and corresponding alteration to add outdoor seating.
Okay,
Should
so
be deleted.
Okay.
so there's amendment on the floor. Is there a second before we discuss that amendment? Okay, so you have a second from Ryder Carter.
Yeah, I was just going to say that they hadn't withdrawn it from their application to the city, and so that's because it's still in play, the application.
So
for
are
the
you
outdoor
saying
dining.
that this would be, it would be incorrect, that the resolution would be incorrect if we were to delete that line?
Yeah, there's a pending application before the city, I believe, for the outdoor dining, so it's still standing, and we don't have any evidence that they've withdrawn that. So
Well, sure, we have the evidence of the meeting.
yeah,
a
but that's
recorded-
for their
recorded
liquor.
from the
That's for
applicant.
their liquor license.
Yeah.
Say what?
That's for their liquor license,
If I may.
not
Okay.
with the city, which is the Dining Out NYC program.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Cormac?
I mean, people can say, I understand that at the place, they said, we won't do that. People can say lots of things before a committee, but they have not actually withdrawn that application, right, as a formal legal matter, which is why we put in here the denial, right? They came to the committee and they said, oh, we won't do that, but they haven't stopped doing it, so.
So we do have a second on the amendment, so we, unless you would like to withdraw it, we will have to take a vote on the amendment as it is on the floor. If there's no further discussion, so this was seconded, so now there's an amendment. So would you like to withdraw your amendment, or we will have to vote on it? It's on the floor.
I understand the technicality there with the license, and will withdraw my amendment.
Okay, so the amendment is withdrawn, so now we still have SLA 2, resolution number 4 on the floor. Is there any continued discussion? If not, is there any unwillingness to vote on SLA 2, resolution number 4 as amended? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We do have a hand raised for opposition.
Ryder, I've got you for and Eddie. Okay, Arturo, Eddie, Ryder, I've got you all.
Okay. Any abstentions? Any recusals?
I'll
Are you an abstention? Okay, so I see there's some hands up for abstentions. Janet, are you an abstention? Is that who I heard?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Emma will
Thanks,
get those.
Janet, and thanks, Matt.
There's a bunch over here, Emma.
Yeah, moving across, thank
So
you.
if you haven't, if Emma has not said your
One sec,
name.
folks. Keep those hands up.
These are for abstentions, correct?
These are for abstentions.
Yeah.
All right, for
Okay.
abstentions, I have Janet. You are all set. I have Matt. I have Ben. I have Rocio. I have Zach. Thanks for your patience.
Okay.
And
Any recusals? Okay, the motion passes. So now, thank you so much, Cormac.
Madam Chair, did we vote on number 3? Because we'd called that one out as well.
We did vote
We did,
on number
okay.
3.
Just wanted to make
did we
sure I
not?
could remember.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes. So that concludes SLA 2. We do now have cannabis licensing, and then after that, if you can believe it, we have August, which I think will be expedient. So Mar, please present your resolutions.
Hi, everybody. So we had no applications. We had one, but it withdrew almost immediately because it was proxed out by a school and another dispensary. So they withdrew. So instead, what we did was we examined municipal requirements under cannabis law. We reviewed the gaps in the OCM's processes. We found notification to municipalities are often, so there's a 30-day notice for cannabis, for if you guys don't know. Those forms have been coming to us totally incomplete or with false information or incorrect information or no contact information, and it's a mess. We've been asking the OCM for 3 years to fix it so that we can contact the licensee, so we get a little more information, or applicant, depending, so we get a little more information up front, similar to SLA, so we know better what we're looking at when they come in. Yeah, we want to make sure that people can't bypass that statutory municipal notice requirement. So right now, there are a bunch of dispensaries that are operating illegally because they did not give municipal notice. And there are going to be a bunch of lawsuits around that because it's becoming a problem. Let's see what else. Second, retail locations and proximities to school. Some of you may have read recently that the OCM has corrected the way that they were measuring distance between dispensaries and schools. If you go back and look at our resolutions, we always note if even with the same block road exclusive use provision that they illegally instituted in cannabis, our resolutions always tell them, hey, we're going to approve this under your rules, but it is in fact within 500 feet of a school, whether your wacky way of measuring says it's not. So they've rolled that back because it was wrong. There are 152 licenses in the state that are affected by this. Many of them are not open. In our district, there are 2 that are not open, that are impacted, and 1 that is. So we wrote a resolution urging, and there's legislation. There's legislation to just blanket approve all of these dispensaries. I can't say whether it's appropriate for a dispensary to be within 500 feet of a school. Well, I can say it's not, but sometimes it could be. And I feel like the municipalities, the community boards are the people that best know that, what works in their neighborhoods. So for these 152, we are going to, just for this instance now, we are hoping that they will consider municipal opinion in the decision for these dispensaries, whether to let them stay where they are, open at their proposed locations, if those locations are within 500 feet of a school. And we also asked them to stop using the word grandfathering. Or grandfathered, well, they don't use grandfather, and that's why it's also a gender issue. So not just a racial issue, it's a gender issue too. And finally, let's see, FY 2027 district needs and budget priorities. We adopted our district needs statement, highlighting the importance of funding the Office of Cannabis Business Services to support community boards and applicants, provide technical services, some legal services, and to ensure compliance and regulations here in New York City for cannabis businesses. And that's all. Not very
so
exciting.
we have 2 resolutions from cannabis licensing to vote on. Do we have any discussion? Carter, could we get Carter a microphone?
Yeah, I would just, it's my understanding that the rules relating to schools, churches are absolute. And what I would instead bring up, that the way that this be done by this board is to ask state legislators to specifically carve out those 152 locations as being exempt, because what we're seemingly asking for is a rewrite of the rule to make it discretionary. But the rule is not discretionary under the law. There's no discretion. So instead, if you want to protect those licenses that have already been issued incorrectly, if you amend the law and include those 152 locations, they would be exempt from that requirement without changing the rule to make it discretionary, which is a total rewrite of the intent.
The resolution doesn't ask for a change of the rule. And I
Okay. But you're saying,
and I don't want to, as you said, if you want to exempt, I don't want to exempt those. We have 2 of those in our district that we denied, that are like,
I bring it up because this is common in the ABC law. If you go read the ABC law with respect to the 500-foot law,
Could you define what ABC
there's many
law is?
locations.
Yeah, I have.
There's many locations that are exempt, that are specifically named locations, and
yes,
personally,
and they're
I don't know
because
if the state has issued a license to a business and they've gone about their business and it was incorrectly applied, if what you're suggesting is that they just lose their license because the law is.
No, not at all.
No,
No, that's
the
not what's
reason-
happening,
the
and that's not what the
reason-
legislation
No,
says.
I understand, but the reasoning behind that is because the law is absolute. It is not up for determination. If you are within a certain distance of a school, you cannot have a license. There's no discretion in it. And so if you want to have any type of input or anything on those locations that were improperly issued licenses, they need to be exempted from the law. That's the only way that they can continue to exist if the law is actually applied properly. And the way that that works under liquor licensing, which is the same language, I believe, is at the conclusion of your license term, your license is not reissued, and you lose your license at the end of the term if it was issued incorrectly. You don't get to keep doing it. The only exemption to that is if your location is exempted in the law, or if it was licensed prior to the church coming into existence, or if, I think those are the two, even because prohibition, I don't know if there are any continuously licensed places from that. But those are the only exemptions because it's an absolute law, and that's what, at the Liquor Authority, you hear the commissioners say, well, unfortunately, we have no discretion in this law. So if you want any of those businesses to keep their licenses, it has to be written into the legislation that that specific location is exempt.
Which it's again,
So-
which resolution are we speaking to?
I didn't have a chance to read these before the meeting, but I'm just saying that the commentary
read them?
the commentary that you want local municipalities to have input.
No, Carter,
it
please,
just
please
doesn't
read it.
work like
No,
that.
that's not what this is.
Just
This
so we
is a
can
very-
move, so we can move this along, are we wanting to call out one of these two before we vote on them? Can we vote on one of them? Is there any unwillingness? I don't want to cut off any discussion, but I do want to kind of move this along. So is there one of these that anyone wants to call out for further discussion, or call both of them out and we can continue discussing each one? I'm not seeing any opinions on that, so I guess we can group them together. Does anybody else want to speak? Otherwise, I'm going to call for the vote, but otherwise, we haven't called each of them out, but we're continuing to discuss both of them without it being clear what we're talking about. So,
I mean, I'm clear.
Okay.
This is all I can say.
So,
And the resolution is clear.
if we want to keep discussing, I need to know what resolution we're discussing. So, is there any is anyone any unwillingness to vote on resolutions 1 through 2 for cannabis? I'm not seeing any unwillingness to vote. Does anybody want to call out either of those for further discussion? I'm not seeing that. So with that, all those in favor of cannabis resolutions 1 through 2? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? I see Rocio, Carter, and I also will abstain. Excuse me?
I was just going to say, I don't know what everybody was talking, but resolution number 2, I'm sorry you guys didn't point out to me that actually addressed the very topic I was talking about. Which is, well, that's fine. But I'm just saying it's not what you said. No, it's just not what you said.
If you could get a microphone, Lois. If you could also, people, stop making hand signals to me. I understand what's happening. It's a little rude. Okay, great. So it seems to be passes, and any recusals. Okay, wonderful. Now, we have approval of the August 2025 Executive Committee resolutions. It's a couple pages. Excuse me? Yes?
We did not vote on resolution 3 for.
There's not a
cannabis.
resolution to vote on. We don't vote on that here. We vote on that through the Executive Committee, so that's not a resolution to vote on.
Did you mean to skip landmarks?
Did I skip landmarks? Oh my goodness, I am apologize. No one alerted me to that, so I kept going. So I will
I'll err
now call
in
on
repayment,
landmarks. Did we
in
not vote
repayment.
on landmarks? We did vote on landmarks, Chenault.
Yes,
So I'm sorry, are you talking about August or
yeah, I'm
September?
August. Yes, August.
So we're not giving reports. These have been voted on by the full board.
Oh, sorry.
So yes, so, okay, so that is pages 1 through 77 at the end of your packet, if you can believe it. And it's 95 resolutions. I'm going to propose that we take them in a block. If there's any further discussion on those, as you know, the way we close out our August business, we do not have full board in August, so we have the executive committee that takes a vote, and then we ratify that vote here at the September full board meeting. So we are voting on Parks item resolution number 1 from August, landmarks 1 through 5, SLA 1 through 16, SLA 2 is numbered 17 through 57. There's a total of 57 resolutions for SLA. Street activities 1 through 21, and 9 FY renewals for August, and then traffic and transportation resolutions 1 through 2. So if there's no unwillingness to vote, I will call for the vote. This is a roll call, so actually Emma will do it. I'm sorry? 3, excuse me. It's still, so it is 96. So would anyone like to call out any of those before we move forward? Did you have a question, Rocio? Could you get a microphone? It's out of a courtesy to people online. So when we call the vote, it's like when we do any sort of block vote, you can state if you have an opposition to one of the 96, you will need to state what committee, what resolution, perhaps the page it's on might be helpful. Okay? So I'm going to turn it over to Emma for that roll call vote for the approval of the August Executive Committee resolutions, pages 1 through 77 at the end of your packet, 96 resolutions.
Thank you, Valerie. We will begin the roll call vote. William Benesh. Thank you. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro. Amy Brenna. Rich Cacapolo. Rich is still not here? Okay. Nina Chen. Valerie De La Rosa.
Yes to all.
Arturo Fernandez. Mara Fitzgerald. Cormac Flynn. Susan Gammy. JJ Herrera. DJ Jane. Zach Kazaz. Susan Kent. Ryder Kessler. Janine Kiley. Patricia Laria. Janet Liff.
Yes to all.
Benjamin Listman. Paul McDade. Scrolling. Brian Pape. Matthew Pereira. Lois Rakoff. Rocio Sands.
Yes to all, except no on street fairs, number 21. Ubuco, pig roast.
No to street fairs, number 21, Il Buco, the pig roast. Got it. Thank you.
Page 73.
Thank you. Shirley Secunda.
Yes to all.
Edward Siegel. Frederica Siegel.
Yes to all.
Emma Smith, yes to all. Dr. Shirley Smith. Chenault Spence.
Yes.
Sean Sweeney. Susan Wittenberg. Thank you all.
It looks like those all pass. So is there any new business anyone would like to bring up? I'm not seeing any. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Okay, so I have a second. Great. So Dr. Smith and then Susan Kent with the second. Thank you all so much. Could you please turn off the recording? Could we please turn off the recording? Could we turn off